मुंबईला एनडीएच्या माध्यमातून त्या ठिकाणी मिळालं। मी अध्यक्ष महोदय कोकणातून येतो, अटल सेतू। मी ज्यावेळेला नगरविकास खात्याचा राज्यमंत्री होतो त्यावेळेला ट्रान्सफॉर्मर लिंक करण्याचं राज्य सरकारने ठरवलं होतं, पण ते काम झालं नाही। पण 14 वर्षाच्या नंतर देशामध्ये ज्यावेळेला नरेंद्र मोदींचं सरकार आलं, राज्यामध्ये त्यावेळेला भाजपने सरकार त्या ठिकाणी आलं, त्यावेळेला तो 22,000 कोटी रुपयाचा पूल, या देशातील सर्वाधिक लांबीचा पूल अटल सेतू त्या ठिकाणी निर्माण झाला। याचं एकमेव कारण नरेंद्र मोदींच्या नेतृत्वाखालच्या सरकारने महाराष्ट्राला झुकतं माप दिलं, ते कधी आम्हाला त्या ठिकाणी विसरता येऊ शकणार नाही। मेट्रोचं जाळं मुंबईमध्ये तयार झालं, मेट्रोचं जाळं पुण्यामध्ये तयार झालं, मेट्रोचं जाळं नागपूरच्या परिसरामध्ये तयार झालं। पायाभूत सुविधा नितीन गडकरींच्या नेतृत्वाखाली इतक्या मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती झाल्यात। आज माझ्या राज्यामध्ये कित्येक लाख किलोमीटरचे रस्ते राष्ट्रीय महामार्ग म्हणून त्या ठिकाणी घोषित करत ते रस्ते अतिशय उत्तम झालेले आम्हाला पाहायला मिळू शकत आहे। खंत आहे माझ्या कोकणातला मुंबई गोवा रस्ता झाला नाही, त्याची खंत जरूर त्या ठिकाणी आहे। या कालावधीमध्ये तो रस्ता त्या ठिकाणी पूर्ण होईल, त्या अर्थव्यवस्थेमध्ये अधिक बदल त्या ठिकाणी होईल। कोकणची रेल्वे भारतीय रेल्वेच्या इतिहासामध्ये पहिला प्रथमच कोकणची रेल्वे करण्यासाठी भाग भांडवल आणि रेल्वे कॉर्पोरेशन तयार करण्यात आलं। माझे आज एनडीएचा घटक म्हणून विनंती आहे की भारतीय रेल्वेमध्ये कोकण रेल्वे मर्ज त्या ठिकाणी करावी, मग त्या कोकणच्या उन्नतीला अधिक त्या ठिकाणी मार्ग मिळू शकेल। कोकणातल्या घाट माथेवाना जाणारा जो रस्ता आहे, ज्याच्यातून अनेक नद्या नदी आज पुराचा पूर त्या ठिकाणी फार मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती आलेला आहे, त्यालाही मदत ज्याला भारत सरकारच्याकडनं लागेल, मला विश्वास आहे की एनडीएचं सरकार अधिक सुक्त माप महाराष्ट्रात देईल, त्याच्यात माझ्या मनामध्ये काही शंकाच काही कारण आहे। पण माझी सुद्धा सरकारकडे काही थोडीशी मागणी आहे। ज्या परिसरातून मी येतो 720 किलोमीटर लांबीचा कोकणचा समृद्ध किनारा त्या ठिकाणी मिळाला, त्या समृद्ध किनारपट्टीमध्ये असलेल्या कोकणामध्ये खूप माणसं निर्माण झाली। मी ज्या लोकसभा मतदारसंघातून येतो, मी स्वतःला भाग्यवान समजतो की माझ्या लोकसभा मतदारसंघामध्ये 4 भारतरत्न आहेत। 4 भारतरत्न महर्षी धोंडो कर्वे, ज्यांनी केवळ स्त्री शिक्षण आणि विवाह याच्या बाबतीमध्ये कार्य चिकाटीने त्या ठिकाणी ठेवलं। दापोली तालुक्यातल्या मुरुडच्या परिसरामध्ये महर्षी धोंडो कर्वे त्या ठिकाणी जन्माला आले, ज्यांचा उल्लेख केल्याशिवाय भारतीय संस्कृती आणि धर्म याचा इतिहास पूर्ण होऊ शकत नाही। हिंदू धर्माचा इतिहास असेल, भारतीय संस्कृती असेल, असे पावा काणे पेढे परशुरामाच्या परिसरामध्ये जन्माला आले। भारतीय संविधानाचे जनक भारत रत्न डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर माझ्याच पंढरपूर मतदारसंघात मंडणगडच्या परिसरामध्ये जन्माला। मुदान चळवळीचे प्रणेते विनायक नरहरी भावे आचार्य विनोबा भावे माझ्या लोकसभा मतदारसंघाच्या पेणच्या गागोदच्या परिसरामध्ये जन्माला आले। होय, माझ्या अर्थसंकल्पाच्या या सर्वसाधारण चर्चेच्या माध्यमातून विनंती आहे, 4 भारतरत्न मी भाग्यवान आहे, देशातल्या 543 खासदारांमधला एकमेव खासदार आहे की ज्याच्या मतदारसंघामध्ये 4 भारतरत्न जन्माला आली। हा देश 2047 सालामध्ये कसा असेल याचं स्वप्न नव्हे तर प्रत्यक्षात कृती करण्यासाठी नरेंद्र मोदी साहेबांच्या नेतृत्वाखालचं सरकार पाऊलं उचलत आहे। देशातल्या 140 कोटी जनतेला विश्वास आहे की 2047 साल आम्ही असू किंवा नसू मला माहीत नाही, पण 2047 सालामध्ये जगामध्ये महाराष्ट्र म्हणून भारत देश अमेरिकेपेक्षा पुढे असेल याचा विश्वास मला आहे। आणि याच्या माध्यमातून जी काही पायाची उभारणी त्या ठिकाणी मोदी साहेबांच्या नेतृत्वाखाली केली गेलेली आहे, त्याची वाटचाल यशस्वीपणाने त्या ठिकाणी होईल। 4 भारतरत्नांचं स्मारक अशापण करावं, जगभरातले इतिहास संशोधक त्या सगळ्या परिसरामध्ये येतील आणि त्यांच्या माध्यमातून एक नवीन पिढीला सुद्धा प्रेरणा मिळण्याचं एक चित्र आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी पाहायला मिळू शकेल। आज मला या ठिकाणी आणि ते सांगायचं आहे की स्वर्गीय चव्हाण साहेबांनी महाराष्ट्र घडवला, महाराष्ट्राचा मंगल कलश त्यांनी शिवाजी पार्कच्या ऐतिहासिक मैदानावरती आणला। सुसंस्कृत विचाराच्या माध्यमातून महाराष्ट्र घडवण्याच्या दृष्टीकोनातून पावलं माझ्या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये त्या ठिकाणी उमटली गेली। आज त्यालाच गती देण्याचं काम इंडियाच्या सरकारच्या माध्यमातून निश्चितपणे घडेल, याच्यात कोणाच्या मनामध्ये ती मात्र शंकाच काही कारण नाही। विरोधाला विरोध करायचा पण सोडावं, बघावं आपण अर्थसंकल्पामध्ये बघावं की मुंबईच्या रेल्वेसाठी काय योजना दिल्या गेलेल्या आहेत, महाराष्ट्राच्या भवितव्यासाठी आम्हाला काय नेमकं करायचं आहे। होय, माझी अपेक्षा या ठिकाणी आहे की आज कांदा उत्पादक शेतकऱ्यांचा त्या ठिकाणी प्रश्न आहे, निर्यात होण्याच्या बाबतीमध्ये सुद्धा काहीतरी आपल्याला धोरण त्या ठिकाणी आखावं लागेल, शेतकऱ्यांना न्याय देण्याच्या दृष्टीकोनातून प्रयत्नाची पराकाष्ठा करावी लागेल। MSP मगाशी उल्लेख या ठिकाणी केला गेला, पण MSP 2014च्या नंतर सुद्धा 4 ते 14 पर्यंत वाढवलं गेलंच। किमान आधारभूत किंमत या देशामध्ये वाढली गेली, पण त्याच्याही पेक्षा जास्त चर्चा क्रमांक जर काही कुठे वाढली गेली असेल तर नरेंद्र मोदी साहेब या देशामध्ये पंतप्रधान झाल्यानंतर या देशातील शेतकरी वर्गाला फार मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती त्या ठिकाणी न्याय मिळाला. पण कांदा उत्पादक शेतकरी असेल, ऊस उत्पादक शेतकरी असेल, सोयाबीन उत्पादक शेतकरी असेल, कास उत्पादक शेतकरी असेल, या शेतकऱ्याला न्याय देण्याची भूमिका सुद्धा पुढच्या कालावधीमध्ये करणं हे सरकारचं कर्तव्य त्या ठिकाणी ठरू शकतं. पुढच्या कालावधीमध्ये सुद्धा अधिक गतीने आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी काम करायचं आहे.
बैठिए,
मुझे उसके बारे में कुछ कहना नहीं
आपस में
चाहता.
बात मत कीजिए. आप
मैं यही कहना चाहता हूँ
बैठो
कि भारत को किसानों के लिए जो कुछ न्याय देने का प्रयास एनडीए के सरकार के माध्यम से हुआ है और आगे कुछ करने की कोशिश वहां पे करनी चाहिए, उसमें दो राय नहीं है. देयर इज नो डिस्प्यूट इन दैट. भारत कृषी प्रधान देश आहे. जगाच्या पाठीवरती निर्यात करणारा मोजक्या देशांच्या मध्ये आज माझा भारत देश त्या ठिकाणी आहे. आणि म्हणूनच चढत्या क्रमाने जर का आम्हाला अर्थव्यवस्था वाढवायची असेल, या देशातल्या या संबंध शेतकरी किसान उत्पादक किसानांना सुद्धा न्याय देण्याची प्रक्रिया पुढच्या कालावधीमध्ये केली गेली पाहिजे. अनेक गोष्टी आहेत की ज्याच्यातून आज आपल्याला अनेक गोष्टी कराव्या लागतात. आरक्षणाच्या प्रश्नाच्यामुळे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये काही व्यक्ती काही प्रवृत्ती जाणीवपूर्वक खतपाणी घालत महाराष्ट्राच्या शाहू फुले आंबेडकरांच्या सामाजिक समतेला धक्का देण्याचा प्रयत्न त्या ठिकाणी करत आहे. मला विनंती आहे या माध्यमातून सुद्धा की स्वतंत्र महाराष्ट्र या देशाच्या पाठीवरती एक दिशादेशक म्हणून या महाराष्ट्रांची काय यशस्वीपणाने वाटचाल केलेली आहे, ती वाटचाल पुढच्या कालावधीमध्ये त्याच पद्धतीने आम्हाला गतिमान ठेवायची असेल ते एनडीएच्या सरकारशिवाय आम्हाला झुकतं माप त्या ठिकाणी मिळू शकत नाही. आम्हाला विश्वास आहे की महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आज महायुतीच्या सरकारच्या माध्यमातून जी महाराष्ट्राची मुख्यमंत्री लाडकी बहीण योजना त्या ठिकाणी करण्यात आलेली आहे, ज्याच्या माध्यमातून महाराष्ट्रामध्ये पुन्हा एकदा देशातल्या या एनडीएच्या सरकारच्या माध्यमातून अधिकाधिक योगदान मिळत पुन्हा एकदा ऑक्टोबर येणाऱ्या निवडणुकीमध्ये महाराष्ट्रामध्ये महायुतीचं सरकार येईल याच्यात माझ्या मनामध्ये ती मात्र सरकारचं काही कारण नाही. पण त्याच्यामुळेच महाराष्ट्र द्रोह असा विचार मनामध्ये काहीतरी वेगळ्या पद्धतीने केलं जात आहे, असा आभास निर्माण करण्याचा जो काही प्रयत्न केला जातोय तो अत्यंत चुकीचा आहे असं मला या ठिकाणी यानिमित्त सांगायचं आहे. आज महाराष्ट्रातला एक खासदार या नात्याने या सरकारला माझी नम्रतेची विनंती आहे की स्वर्गीय चव्हाण साहेबांनी सुसंस्कृत महाराष्ट्र घडवल्या, त्या चव्हाण साहेबांना सुद्धा भारतरत्न त्या ठिकाणी देऊन त्यांचा यथोचित गौरव महाराष्ट्राचा यथोचित गौरव या सरकारने करावा अशी माझी विनंती या ठिकाणी आहे. महाराष्ट्राचे मुख्यमंत्री बॅरिस्टर अंतुले यांना सुद्धा पद्मश्रीचा पुरस्कार त्या ठिकाणी देऊन त्यांनी केलेल्या कार्याचा गौरव सुद्धा त्या ठिकाणी व्हावा अशापैकी विनंती त्या ठिकाणी माझी मनापासूनची करायची. महाराष्ट्राच्या मराठी भाषेला मी आज मराठी या ठिकाणी का बोलतोय, मला इंग्रजी बोलता येत असल्यानं नाही भाग, मी हिंदीमध्ये सुद्धा बोलू शकतो, इंग्रजीमध्ये सुद्धा बोलू शकतो. पण तुम्ही एक प्रतिज्ञा केली, जोपर्यंत मराठी भाषेला अभिजात भाषेचा दर्जा मिळत नाही तोपर्यंत मी माझ्या माय मराठी भाषेतच त्या ठिकाणी भाषण करणार आहे. संत श्रेष्ठ ज्ञानेश्वर माऊलीने माझ्या मराठीची बोलू कौतुके परी अमृतातही पैजासी जिंके ऐशी अक्षरे रसिके मेळवीन संत ज्ञानेश्वर महाराजांनी, संत तुकोबारायांनी संत साहित्याच्या माध्यमातून महाराष्ट्र अतिशय आध्यात्मिक विचारसरणीच्या माध्यमातून घडवला. त्या महाराष्ट्राला गतिमान करण्याच्या दृष्टीतून या केंद्र सरकारच्या माध्यमातून या अर्थसंकल्पात सुद्धा झुकतं माप दिलेलं आहे. कोणाच्या मनामध्ये ती मात्र शंकाचं काही कारण आहे. पण जसं संविधानाच्या नावाने तुम्ही नॅरेटिव्ह सेट केलं तसं आज महाराष्ट्राच्या निवडणुका नजरेसमोर ठेवत भारत सरकारने महाराष्ट्रावरती अन्याय केला आहे असा आभास निर्माण करण्याचा तुम्ही जो प्रयत्न करताय, माझ्या महाराष्ट्रातली 13 कोटी जनता निर्विवादपणाने तुम्हाला झुलकावून राहील. नरेंद्र मोदींच्या नेतृत्वाखाली यशस्वीपणाने वाटचाल करण्यासाठी तिसऱ्यांदा ज्यावेळेला 140 कोटी जनतेने स्पष्टपणाचा कौल ज्या वेळेला त्या ठिकाणी दिलेला आहे, अरविंदजी हे पदकवीर जेवढे तुम्ही मला दाखवतात, यांच्या राज्याला जेवढा निधी दिला आहे तेवढा निधी महाराष्ट्राला वाढवण बंधनाला दिला. तुम्ही आता विरोध करण्याचं सोडा आणि महाराष्ट्रातल्या 10 लाख जनतेला वाढवणचं बंधन वर्गाची तुमच्याकडे आहे हे मला दाखवता. 2च पदकवीर आहेत, म्हणजे कोण तर चंद्रबाबू नायडू आणि बिहारचे मुख्यमंत्री नितीश कुमार नाही, तिसरे पण आहेत एकनाथराव शिंदे, देवेंद्र फडणवीस, अजितदादा सुद्धा आहेत. न मागता या सरकारने 78,000 कोटी रुपयाचं वाढवणचं बंदर दिलंय, त्याला विरोध करण्याचं पाप तुम्ही करू नका. 10 लाख तरुणांना रोजगार देण्याचा क्रांतिकारी प्रकल्प ज्या परिसरामध्ये होत आहे तो इंडियाच्या 3ऱ्या कालखंडामध्ये होत आहे. याचा महाराष्ट्रातला खासदार म्हणून आम्हाला अभिमान आहे आणि महाराष्ट्रातल्या 12 कोटी जनता या नेतृत्वावरती शिक्कामोर्तब करत, निर्मलाजी तुम्ही जो अर्थसंकल्प या ठिकाणी मांडलात, महिलांच्यासाठी तुम्ही ज्या काही योजना दिल्यात, माझं महाराष्ट्राचं सरकार त्या योजना राबवण्याच्या दृष्टिकोनातून सक्षमपणे त्या ठिकाणी काम करत राहील एवढा विश्वास या ठिकाणी व्यक्त करतो. त्यांनी मांडलेल्या अर्थसंकल्पाचं अंतःकरणापासून महाराष्ट्रातला एक मराठी खासदार नात्याने स्वागत करत असताना ज्या काही योजना त्यांनी दिल्या त्या योजनांना विरोध करण्याचं पाप महाविकास आघाडी न करता इंडियाच्या पाठीमागे महाराष्ट्रातली 12 कोटी जनता जी का उभे राहून आज नरेंद्र मोदींच्या नेतृत्वाखाली जी काय विकास पाहत आहे त्या विकासाला गतिमान करण्यासाठी आपल्या सर्वांचा आशीर्वादाचं पाठबळ त्या ठिकाणी राहू द्या. मी पुन्हा एकदा सांगतो, आय एम द ओनली वन, फक्त एकटाच मी या ठिकाणी खासदार आहे. तरी आज ट्रेझरी बेंचच्या वतीने मला या ठिकाणी बोलण्याची संधी दिली. टॉरिंग पर्सनॅलिटी, उंचीच्या पर्सनॅलिटी कशा असू शकतात हे भारतीय जनता पक्षाने या ठिकाणी दाखवलं. हे सुद्धा मला आवर्जून या ठिकाणी सांगायचं आहे. तुमचे आभार आणि पुन्हा एकदा या माध्यमातून देश गतिमान करण्याचं काम आपण करूया अशी विनंती करतो आणि थांबतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
माननीय सदस्य श्री शौकत राय जी.
Madam, I rise to speak on the budget. Good that the finance minister is here. Yesterday, Abhishek Banerjee from our party has enunciated all the objections we have to the budget, particularly with regard to the dues to West Bengal on the account of NREGA and Indira Awas Yojana. The government has always been strangely silent on these demands of West Bengal. I again reiterate the same. This has proved to be the most divisive budget in recent times, because a budget is supposed to present the future plans of the government. But this is a budget which is called AB budget, Andhra Bihar budget. They have allotted 59,000 crores to Bihar, 15,000 crores to Andhra Pradesh for a new capital. At least 3 Congress chief ministers, 1 Punjab chief minister, Tamil Nadu chief minister has opposed the budget, and of course our West Bengal chief minister has called this budget an exercise to save the government, and she also said that the budget gave 0 to West Bengal. Now, Madam, I want to say
Please,
that this budget,
don't disturb.
Kerala chief minister has also opposed the budget, right? Madam, this budget speech, I read it very carefully several times. It's a copy and paste job. They have taken, Congress has already complained that it is taken from their Nyaya Patra. I have seen that you look at 26 education loans. It is the exact program given by West Bengal government for students. Exact. Same 10 lakhs. You are not even original. I do not expect the finance minister to be like Dr. Manmohan Singh. She is not a PhD from Oxford, nor even like Chidambaram, who's got a management degree from Harvard. She's from our own JNU. But the problem is that she is bereft. She's bereft of new ideas, which is why this budget reads very dull. And then you realize that all the notes in the budget, they have come from the PMO. Whatever PMO has said, she has no original idea. she has put it in the budget in the copy and paste type. Now, this year, the budget, the finance minister vowed to spend 2 lakh crores over 5 years on 5 schemes, which are part of what she called the Prime Minister's package, aimed at spurring jobs and imparting skills to 4.1 crore youth. This marked a shift in strategy from the previous government's preferred reliance in letting multiplier and trickle-down effects. Formerly they said, you give a lot of money, something will trickle down. But now, earlier they did not give any direct handouts to any section of society. The trigger why the budget has changed course is due to the BJP's electoral reverses, where there is a government without a majority. Abhishek called it shaky government. I would call it further brittle government, just like a glass. It may break at any time. The FM tried to address the perceived disenchantment among the youth, the salaried class, farmers and small entrepreneurs. One important thing, Madam, you should take note, that just before the election, the revelations came about the donations received for electoral bonds. BJP alone got 50% of all electoral bonds received by all political parties, 50%, which meant what? This is a government of the moneyed class. As some people say, of the Adanis and Ambanis who contributed to your election, even to yours, Nishikantji. Please don't forget. आपने देखा है? Did you see the revelations?
Let him speak.
Given to
आप जब
Supreme Court?
बोलेंगे तब जवाब दे देंगे।
अरे अदानी
मैडम
तो एक
बोलेंगी जवाब दे देंगे।
टाइटल
आप बैठिए, बोलने दीजिए। नाम,
मैडम,
no name will be taken।
अदानी किसी को नाम नहीं है, टाइटल है।
बोल दिया। नहीं, आप
क्यों बोलेंगे?
तो खत्म कर
क्यों?
दीजिए।
क्यों बोलेंगे?
खत्म करने दीजिए।
क्यों बोलेंगे?
खत्म करने दीजिए।
क्यों बोलेंगे? बोलची। But in spite of all this, the stock market has reacted badly. It was wobbly because of the capital gains tax. So in spite of all this, the capitalists are not happy. Now, Madam, I will emphasize what the basic problems of the Indian economy are and whether they have been addressed by the finance minister. According to data from Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, unemployment rate rose to an 8-month high of 9.2% in June 2024. The female unemployment rate was higher than the national average of 18.5% in June 2024. Now, we have been doing very poorly in terms of employment generation. You may be knowing, Madam, that there has been job losses in the IT sector. Now, with AI, artificial intelligence coming in, there is fear of further job losses in what was seen as the most profitable part of Indian economy. The second big problem in India's economy is rising inflation. The annual consumer inflation rate in India rose to 5.08% in June 2024, well above market expectations. Prices accelerated steeply for food, 9.36%, which is responsible for nearly half of the weight of Indian consumer basket. One company called Cantor. They did a study and they found that in 2024-25, 34% households reported that they are finding it difficult to manage their expenses, indicating that a third of India is still under severe financial stress. The other problem is, madam, the shrinking informal sector. This is what has sustained the economy for so long, but informal sector is in grave crisis, as NSSO data show. India's 65 million informal or unincorporated sector enterprises employed 110 million workers. They are suffering very badly. What we call MSME, they are suffering. And the other big problem is falling private investment. The finance minister in our presence handed over a tax bonanza to the corporate sector. But private investment has been falling. The government has been hoping that large Indian corporations would step in and ramp up investment. But they introduced production-linked incentive schemes for big business. But all these incentives have failed to motivate private investors. They will spend money on their son's marriage, but will not invest in new enterprises. That is the big problem of Indian economy. Lastly, we have a problem of shrinking labor productivity. It shows that labor productivity is contracted in FY23 compared to the preceding year, thus highlighting India's lack of competitiveness in industrial sectors. This is what is called extreme disparity in wealth and income distribution had pushed the economy to a state of gated stagflation. Gated stagflation. That is what the economy is today. The finance minister must resort, please listen to this, must resort to Keynesian prescription of boosting aggregate demand by allocating more government funds for the social sector and targeted welfare programs that, like MGNREGA, increase government spending will boost household consumption, which will stimulate private investment. The finance minister has not gone this route at all. Now let me see, madam, very important that we study the social sector. How much money the government has doled out to the poor. The allocation for school education has increased only by a nominal 5,000 crores. And for higher education, by only 3,000 crores. In both cases, estimated recoveries are substantially higher compared to previous year, indicating higher fees and self-financing schemes in educational institutions. Allocation for health and family welfare has barely increased by 1,500 crores. So health and education, this, as Dr. Amartya Sen is fond of saying, are the foundations of economy. And there we are not having enough money. There is hardly any increase in food subsidy too, despite the need for expanding coverage to current population level. Lastly, smaller yet critical schemes, listen to this, ma'am, that address vulnerable populations have not got much attention. There is only a slight increase of rupees 12,467 crores for Poshan scheme, that is school midday meal. That is actually less than the actual expenditure on this scheme. The other thing is that budgetary allocation for Anganwadis. Madam, you are familiar with all these things. Budgetary allocation for Anganwadis is only 21,200 crores. And it was only 20,554 crore last year. So it means what? There is clearly no hope for higher salaries for Anganwadi workers, which have not been revised in 2018. You have no sympathy for the poor Anganwadi worker girls. Shame. The other thing I want to mention is the budget for National Social Assistance Scheme. You are MP, ma'am. Old people come to you for widow pension and disabled pension. Look at this. The budget for National Social Assistance Program, which gives social security pension to the elderly, single women and disabled, remains unchanged. Not a rupee is added at 9,652 crores, which means this is a reduction in real terms, taking into account inflation. Madam, please consider. Lastly, new package is, they say, Prime Minister's package for employment and skilling. Includes government-sponsored internships, formalization of jobs through incentives for EPFO, Employees Provident Fund Organization enrollment, and skill development programs. These schemes do not seem, Madam, may I say, that these schemes do not seem very impressive when one looks at the budgetary allocation. You say that you are taking care of unemployment, but the entire package has an allocation of rupees 2 lakh crore over a period of 5 years. How much? For 2 lakh crores in 5 years, 40,000 crores per year for employment generation. Further, the private sector is required to spend money towards this package from CSR funds. Pehle kya hota? Private sector used to develop a school, a hospital, this and that. Now, the Prime Minister is taking in the money from CSR fund by allowing this CSR fund through which companies contribute back to society in some minimal way are now mandated to be used towards subsidizing wages for themselves. How will this economy survive? Rather than discussing dampened demand, stagnant wage, and what can be done to revive employment, the announcement only includes supply side. You're like Milton Friedman. You're indulging in supply side economics. Only includes supply side schemes towards incentivizing the private sector. Private sector, our incentive though, they will create employment. Different versions of this have been tried earlier and have failed. Whether this package will be any different remains to be seen. So this, as Madam, I was saying earlier, is a disappointing anti-poor, anti-rich people, anti-poor people scheme. So, one question is, Madam, you have only discovered now, you have been minister for 7 years, though you are not a trained economist, you are lucky that way, and still it never occurred to her. She is not a trained economist. What's wrong in saying that? She is no Manmohan Singh. She is not even Chidambaram. She is not even Ananta Nageshwar. Ma'am. Achha, why did you not act upon demands made by Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha earlier? Why are you thinking of them now? only because of the political compulsions. In your brittle, unstable government, they are the crutches on which you lean. And your economy, your budget is going haywire because lopsided because of all these things. India is more unequal now than in the 1920s. It's an unequal society that we have. During colonial rule, we are still somewhat more equal than we are today. Madam, Finance Minister, of course, has not dealt with inflation. Just 10 words on inflation. The most important problem affecting everyone. Ma'am, I'll just give one or two figures and then wind up because my friend Shatabdi Rai is due to speak and she's naturally feeling disappointed as I go on and on. I'll wind up. Madam, see, they are saying that 11,11,000 crores for infrastructure. Good. They think that that is the be-all panacea for all the ills affected. We ready medicine. Has it been? One infrastructure project, Madam, will take 5 to 10 years to complete. There is an infrastructure project in your area, Damdam Barasat metro line. How many years it has taken now? And it is nowhere near completion. Problem of infrastructure is that it is long-term spin-off, no short-term spin-off. This does not appeal. I'll give you a figure. Even railway minister, they say Ashwini Vaishnav is a great railway minister. He has introduced Vande Bharat train. This year, FY24, railways at 5.42% of the budget. You know the budget is 48 lakh crores and the revenue is 32 lakh crores. Now railways have gone less, 5.42 to 5.3. Aviation, young Ram Naidu was waxing eloquent in the morning, but on, ma'am, I'm winding up. Even on aviation, the allocation is 0.05%, 0.05% of the budget. And on shipping, the allocation is 0.05%. Social sector spending, even on health, it is only 1.85% of the budget. Rural development, most important, 5.51% of the budget. Higher education, you want to educate the people, privatize education. People will learn on their own, that's what the finance minister's prescription is. Higher education is 0.99% of the budget. School education, it has come down from 1.61 to 1.51% of the budget. Madam, this budget will not give relief to the poor in the country. This budget will not spur investment. This budget will not take from the rich and give it to the poor. And this budget will not stop conspicuous consumption by those who indulge in marriage feasts. This budget is for poor people to just look and gape at whatever happens in Mumbai. All the stars descending in Mumbai. With that, ma'am, I end my submission on the budget. Thank you.
माननीय सांसद श्री वैजयंत पंडा जी.
Madam Chairperson, as I rise to speak in support of the budget, I seek your indulgence. From the turn of the century, for almost 2 decades, I had the opportunity and I was privileged to speak many times on the budget in both the august houses. but I have been away for a while, for about 5.5 years, and now back as a member of this House. It is my great privilege to speak on this most important budget, but it is almost akin to a maiden speech. Madam, I compliment Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji on this historic budget. Historic because not only is it her 6th successive budget, I stand corrected, 7th successive budget, but the first one in the historic 3rd consecutive term headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Madam, I wish to put this budget in the context of what has happened in the last 10 years. I will speak on the budget, but this context is important, madam, because we have just a few minutes ago heard a pining for the colonial era. We have heard a little bit before that weird allegations that this government is like the British Raj, which has just been contradicted by my previous speaker, who was pining for the colonial era of the 1920s. Madam, there are terms to describe this kind of an attitude, but I will remain parliamentary. And so the parliamentary term for it in social sciences is referred to as a westernized oriental gentleman, a wog. And that's because while you pine for the former masters and the degrees that they give from their countries and denigrate ours, those former masters don't respect you. Those former masters don't respect you. They refer to you, when they are charitable, as wogs. Madam, the context of the last 10 years is as follows. When Prime Minister Modi formed his first government 10 years ago, he inherited from the previous government a huge backlog of undone reforms. In fact, in the words of my friend, the honorable member from Thiruvananthapuram, you might call it a long laundry list of unattempted reforms. Starting with GST, going on with the bankruptcy code, and we could keep going on and on. Madam, this budget is both very wide in its scope, but also very deep in addressing the reforms that are necessary to take Bharat forward. Madam, for the last 5 years from outside this House, I have admired Nirmala Sitharaman ji's previous budgets when, during the second Modi government, she consolidated on the deep fiscal reforms that were initiated in the first Modi government by my friend, the late Arun Jaitley. In the second term, during Nirmala ji's budgets being presented, India consistently remained the fastest growing large economy in the world. Now, sometimes questions are raised that what is the importance of being the fastest growing large economy? How does it benefit the Aam Aadmi? How does it benefit the average Bharatiya? I will tell you, madam. Because this growth has enabled the massive increases in allocations and the massive improvement in outputs and results that have been demonstrated in the last 10 years. And this has been commented upon by a wide variety of experts around the world. And I will refer to some of them. Now, if you look at just a few weeks ago, looking at the data coming out for the financial year that we just completed and entered this financial year, these are the words of some of the pink papers in both India and abroad. I quote one, but this has been repeated many different times. Quote, in 2024, India has experienced significant economic growth, with exports reaching a record high of $776 billion at an 11.8% increase. The unemployment rate has dropped to a record low of 3.1%, and business activity and job creation are at an 18-year high, reflecting a robust economy. Now, Madam, some of my friends in the opposition branches get a little triggered when we cite some of these statistics. So I'll have to issue a trigger warning. But the data indicates, if you look at the job creation data, for example, look, I'll tell you where it is manipulated. The manipulated data comes from certain organizations where the head of the organization is the head of your manifesto drafting committee. When you cite organizations where the head of that organization is the head of your manifesto drafting committee, that is biased. This is not biased. These are RBI data. These are reflected by the World Bank and by the IMF and by India's pink papers. Next, just in the manufacturing and services sector, in the last 10 years, 89 million jobs have been created. Compare this with only 66 million in the previous 10 years. Look at the economic survey that preceded the budget just a couple of days ago. The economic survey points out that the percentage of youth who are deemed employable has improved from 34% to 51% in the last decade. And this work is being taken forward with many other steps to be mentioned in this budget, which I will come to. Madam Chairperson, I think while increasing these allocations, I'll refer to some of the increased allocations in infrastructure and other areas. While increasing these allocations, for example, my previous speaker just mentioned allocations to health. I think the House deserves to know that in the last 5 years, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, Nirmala 9.5%, which is a new record. Madam, the system has to have a capacity to absorb, and that's why it has to be stepped up gradually. You cannot beat this high CAGR commitment to health. But Madam, I think one of the most impressive parts of the Modi government, especially in the last 5 years, is how the fiscal deficit has been managed, despite these high allocations for the growth of India. And Madam, I refer to the fiscal deficit, it gets referred a lot, but I want to take a moment to go behind why it is important. Madam, in this House, not just in the Treasury benches, but also in the opposition benches, there are many friends with whom I have personally sat and engaged in discussions with multilateral and global financial institutions, and they point out that the single biggest factor they look at when giving a country rating is the fiscal deficit. And that is what impacts inflation, that is what impacts our exchange rate, to what some of our friends have been referring to. Madam, the fiscal deficit, which was inherited 10 years ago at 4.5%, was continually brought down in Modi ji's first government until it reached 3.4%. And then the whole world was turned upside down because of the COVID pandemic, and India managed it far better than all other countries. But yes, of course, we saw a rise of the fiscal deficit to 9.2%. But the roadmap that has been shown since then by the Honorable Finance Minister has been rigidly adhered to, coming down year after year to 6.7%, 6.4%, 5.9%, 5.8%, 5.6%, 4.9% this year, and her commitment to bring it back down to 4.5% next year is extremely commendable. Madam, one of the challenges of high growth rate is sometimes it does create inequalities. And that is an allegation that some of our friends have been wrongly making. And I'll tell you why, Madam. Because inequality is something that is measured. There is something called the Gini index, which measures inequality in a society across all countries. Madam, the reality is India's Gini index, which started out 10 years ago in the mid-30s, has remained in the mid-30s. Inequality has not changed by economic parameters. And Madam, why this is particularly impressive? Gini index, why? Just look it up. It's very simple. You can Google it. Now, Madam, the important thing is the Gini index of India is far better than other BRICS countries like China and Brazil, which means despite being in the same economic strata, we are a far more equal society. What is even more impressive is that our Gini index compares more favorably than highly developed countries which have been allocating huge sums to welfare, such as the United States, such as the UK. Madam, the reason that our Gini index has been so impressive is because of the allocations and the outputs and the results of many of the aspects of the last 10 budgets, and particularly this historic budget. Let me give you an example, man. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Because to maintain equality in a society, if you provide roti, kapda and makan, that is what helps maintain equality. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, madam, just a comparison. In the years before the last 10 years, there were schemes like the JNNURM and the Rajiv Awas Yojana, which sanctioned a total of less than 13.5 lakh houses. By comparison, since 2015, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has sanctioned 42 million houses, and this year 30 million more houses are going to get built. Take for example, ma'am, the Jal Jeevan Mission, another very key aspect of the various budgets of the Modi governments 1, 2 and 3, especially in the last few years. Ma'am, take a look at this. I'll give you the statistics. The Jal Jeevan Mission, just a few days ago, please have the patience to listen. Please have the patience to listen. The Jal Jeevan Mission. The Jal Jeevan Mission has achieved a milestone of 150 million rural tap connections, up from just 30 million 5 years ago. 5 times growth in just 5 years. This translates to 2.28 lakh villages and 190 districts achieving the Har Ghar Jal milestone. Similarly, Ayushman Bharat, which provides health coverage to hundreds of millions of Indians, the world's largest such program, again this year has got 7,300 crores allocation to take it forward. Madam, there have been some comments on this historic budget's focus on Purvodaya. I think it is important to discuss this. Now, the Prime Minister is on record as having a deep commitment to the Northeast and the East, which he has repeatedly explained, that unless these previously neglected regions get developed, Bharat is not going to get developed. And that is why he has visited the Northeast a record number of times, more than all his predecessors. And the budgets that have been allocated for the East and Northeast have been witness to this transformation. Now, I will come to the point where you might really want to get excited. So, madam, the East had been traditionally neglected by the center. But what is more tragic is that within the East, there was discrimination from one state to another, despite ministers from those eastern states having had a role in Delhi. Madam, more than 20 years ago, when I first spoke at a budget. In those days, the railways budget was different, separate. I was myself shocked to find some of the statistics. Pani. Madam, I still remember the statistics more than 20 years later. And please, my friends, please reflect on this. 20 years ago, when I first spoke on the budget, I found that West Bengal had the country's highest rail track density, and I remember the number. It was 42 kilometers per square kilometer. Right next door to West Bengal was my state of Odisha, lowest in the country, 14 kilometers per square kilometer. Every year, we used to appeal to the center to increase our allocation. We used to keep getting a few piddly 100 crores, and our appeal was, at least please give us 1,000 crores. In the first Modi budget 10 years ago, we were gobsmacked when the allocation straight away went 5 times to 5,000 crores. We did not then have a railway minister from Odisha. The Modi government does not believe that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas is determined by proportionate representation, but it is for all India. Madam, this year, I thank the Honorable Railways Minister. The Railways allocation for Odisha is 10,500 crores, go a long way towards bringing Odisha up to the national average and beyond. Madam, when we talk of Purvodaya, even West Bengal is included. Yes, there has been a lot of talk about Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. In Odisha, people, some of our friends from other parties in the other house created a ruckus because they wanted to know how much has been allocated, despite the Honorable Finance Minister specifically covering a wide array of investment opportunities. And just yesterday, from what has been presented in Parliament, it looks like our long-awaited coastal highway project, which is going into the DPR stage, is moving forward. And that is something like 2.5 times of what the Railways Minister has given us. This will be a total transformation for Odisha. Madam, I want to refer to a couple of important voices that have been celebrating India's success. These are global voices, madam. Madam, the World Bank, I'll come to another one first. Madam, I'll first mention that many, I apologize, I did not realize that there had been a change in the chair. Respected Chairperson, sir. Sir, the Modi government believes in finding win-win solutions which are fiscally sustainable, environmentally sustainable. There are those of our friends in other parties who run some states, who run their states into the ground because of freebies which they cannot fund. Then they keep running to the center asking for special funds. The Modi government works differently, sir. Look at electricity. The massive thrust on renewable energy, the massive thrust on solar has been something of a world record setter. If you look at it, sir, 10 years ago, India inherited a total installed capacity of 2.6 gigawatts. It is something that is being cherished and celebrated around the world, that today this photovoltaic capacity, solar cell capacity installed is 85.5 gigawatts.
Sir, please wind up in a minute, please.
Sir, the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana is another such win-win solution. And it was important that the Honorable Finance Minister mentioned that more than 1.28 crore applications have been received for this, because this proves that this is a yojana which is getting uptake, which is getting enormous interest. And not only will these households get 300 units of free electricity, but the extra electricity that will be generated and sold from their rooftops goes into their accounts. This is something that is being again talked about a lot everywhere else. Sir, as I start coming to the end of my speech on the budget, I want to talk about the digital transformation that has happened under the Modi government 1, 2 and 3, which is the talk of the world. Now, look at the startup environment. 10 years ago, we had a sum total of some 350 startups. This has grown 300 times in the last 10 years, and now India has more than 90,000 startups, third highest in the world. And these have been made possible by the various policies of the Modi government and the budgetary support for such development. Sir, the World Bank has made the following comment. I think it is worth mentioning. Quote, without the digital payment infrastructure such as Jan Dhan bank accounts, Aadhaar and mobile phones, the JAM trilogy, India may have taken 47 years to achieve the financial inclusion which it has achieved in only 6 years. This is the kind of transformation that is happening. Madam, in the limited time, I apologize again. I apologize again. Sir, in the limited time available to me, I will not be able to go into each and every aspect of the budget, but suffice it to say that the thrust on infrastructure continues. And this is again the talk of the world. And this year's allocation of 11,000 crores continues that initiative, which is transforming India, creating jobs, and keeping us as the fastest growing economy.
Please conclude,
Sir, yes, I'll just make this one last point and I will conclude. Sir, one of the most transformational infrastructure initiatives was started under the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji in the first NDA government, which was the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana scheme. Sir, I represent a coastal district of Odisha, Kendrapada, where many areas used to get completely cut off during the monsoon, and children could not go to school and citizens could not go to hospitals. But the PMJSY roads, concrete roads, made it possible that even something which may be 15 kilometers away becomes easily accessible on a bicycle. It has transformed life. But there are still areas that are left behind. And I compliment the Honorable Finance Minister that in this historic third Modi government, she has proposed the fourth phase of PMJSY, which is going to create connectivity to another 25,000 habitations. And it transforms places like Kendrapada, places around the country, especially in the northeast and previously neglected areas where many habitations, many villages used to be deprived of the basics of life, which are now being made available to them. Sir, I could go on and on. I will just conclude by saying that sometimes our friends in the opposition try to blame us for their own faults, whether infrastructure which is facing problems which was built during their time, or whether the banking situation. Sir, the transformation in the NPAs in the banking situation is noteworthy. I will conclude with that. Some 64,000 crores worth of assets have been seized, which was not happening, and it may be paining some of our friends because parties of nepotism, parties of corruption obviously had a stake in all those defaults. Now, some 15,000 crores have been returned to banks, and in this budget, the Honorable Finance Minister pointed out that 3,30,000 crores has been returned to creditors because of the policies of the Modi government so far. With that, I conclude my speech in favor of the budget. Thank you,
Dr. T. Sumati.
பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களுக்கு நன்றி. தமிழ்நாடு தென்சென்னை தொகுதியிலே இருந்து இரண்டாவது முறையாக இந்த நாடாளுமன்றத்திலே வெற்றி பெற்று நுழைவதற்கு வாய்ப்பளித்த தமிழ்நாட்டிலே தனக்கு வாக்களித்த மக்களுக்கு மட்டுமல்ல வாக்களிக்காத மக்களுக்கும் சேர்த்து ஆண்டுதோறும் நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையை தயாரித்து தருகின்ற பெருமையும் பெருந்தன்மையும் உடைய எங்களுடைய கழகத் தலைவர் மாண்புமிகு முதலமைச்சர் திரு தளபதி MK ஸ்டாலின் அவர்களுக்கு நன்றி. தென்சென்னை தொகுதி மக்களுக்கு நன்றி. 400 இடங்களுக்கு மேல் பெறுவோம் என்றெல்லாம் சொல்லிக் கொண்டிருந்த அந்த பகல் கனவை தவிடுபொடியாக்கி 40 இடங்களிலும் NDA கூட்டணியை சார்ந்த கூட்டணி கட்சியை வெற்றி பெறச் செய்த தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்களுக்கு நன்றி. பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களே, சபையிலே மிக பிரதானமாக செங்கோல் வைக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. நாம் முடியாட்சியிலே இருந்து துறந்து மக்களாட்சிக்கு வந்து வெகு ஆண்டு காலம் ஆகிவிட்டது. காழ்ப்பு உணர்ச்சியின்றி விருப்பு வெறுப்பு இல்லாமல் பாரபட்சமின்றி இந்தியாவிலே இருக்கின்ற அனைத்து மாநில மக்களையும் ஒரு சேர நடத்த வேண்டும் என்பதுதான் அரசியல் சாசன சட்டம் நமக்கு தந்திருக்கின்ற மக்களாட்சியின் மகத்துவம். ஆனால் அதனை மறந்துவிட்டு தமிழ்நாடு தமிழ் என்கின்ற சொற்களே இல்லாமல் இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கை சமர்ப்பிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. ஆகவே என்னுடைய தாய் தமிழில் அருந்தமிழே உன்னால் இருந்தேன் வானோர்தம் விருந்தமிழ்தம் தந்தாலும் வேண்டேன். Oh my dear precious mother tongue, I survive thrive because of you. I wouldn't pledge it even for the nectar from heaven. எனும் 3000 ஆண்டு பாரம்பரிய மிக்க தமிழ் மொழியிலே என்னுடைய உரையை துவங்கி மேலும் தொடர்கின்றேன். இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையை சமர்ப்பிக்கும் முன்பாக கூட நம்முடைய நிதியமைச்சர் என்ன சொல்லி இருக்கின்றார்? The government is determined, I quote, to ensure that all Indians, regardless of religion, caste, gender and age, make substantial progress in realizing their life goals and aspirants, unquote. இந்தியாவிலே இருக்கின்ற மாநிலங்களில் ஒன்றான தமிழ்நாட்டின் தமிழர்களாகிய நாங்கள் அப்படி என்றால் இந்தியர்கள் இல்லையா? ஏன் புறக்கணிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றோம்? இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையை 7வது முறையாக பட்ஜெட் தாக்கல் செய்திருக்கின்றார் என்று பெருமையோடு அனைவரும் கூறுகின்றார்கள். அது மகிழ்ச்சிதான். 8 முறை தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு மாண்புமிகு பிரதமர் அவர்கள் வருகை தந்தும் ஒரு இடத்தில் கூட அவர்தம் கூட்டணி கட்சிகளை சார்ந்தவர்களை வெற்றி பெற செய்யவில்லை தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்கள் என்றுதான் ஜனநாயகத்தை உயர்த்தி பிடித்த, கூட்டாட்சி தத்துவத்தை உயர்த்தி பிடித்த, மத நல்லிணக்கத்தை உயர்த்தி பிடித்த தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்கள் பழிவாங்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறார்கள் என்று நாங்கள் சொல்லவில்லை, 8 கோடி தமிழ் மக்கள் சொல்லுகின்றார். 10 ஆண்டுகளாக திரும்பி பார்த்திராத அண்டை மாநிலங்களான நம்முடைய பீகாருக்கும் ஆந்திர பிரதேசத்திற்கும் அள்ளி அள்ளி கொடுத்திருக்கின்ற ஒன்றிய அரசாங்கத்திற்கு தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு கிள்ளி கொடுப்பதற்கு கூட மனமில்லை. ஏப்ரல் மாத GST வசூல் மூலம் பீகார் மாநிலம் ஒன்றிய அரசிற்கு கொடுத்தது 1992 கோடி. ஆனால் தமிழ்நாடு கொடுத்தது 12,210 கோடி. பீகாருக்கு ஒன்றிய அரசாங்கம் இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையிலே வாரி வழங்கி இருப்பது 37,500 கோடி. தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு சுழியம், அதாவது 0. இதுதான் மாண்புமிகு பிரதமர் அடிக்கடி சொல்லுகின்ற வசுதேவ குடும்பகம், உலகமெல்லாம் எங்களுடைய குடும்பம் என்பதன் அர்த்தமா? விஸ்வகுருவின் நீதி பரிபாலனம் இதுதானா? இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையிலே 5 முறை நிதி அமைச்சர் 5 முறை ஆந்திர பிரதேசம் என்ற சொல்லை உச்சரித்திருக்கின்றார், 5 முறை பீகார் என்ற சொல்லை உச்சரித்திருக்கின்றார். ஆனால் ஒரு முறை கூட தமிழ்நாடு, ஏன் தமிழ்நாடு மட்டுமல்ல, தமிழ்நாடு நம்முடைய தெலுங்கானா, கர்நாடகா ஆகிய மாநிலங்களின் பெயரை உச்சரிக்கவில்லை, கேரளாவினுடைய பெயரை உச்சரிக்கவில்லை. எனக்கு இப்பொழுது ஹொசெமின் என்கின்ற வியட்நாம் மக்களுக்கான சுதந்திரத்துக்காக போராடிய அவருடைய கூற்று நினைவுக்கு வருகிறது. அவர் சொன்னார், தெற்கில் இருந்துதான் எதுவும் தொடங்கும் என்று சொன்னார். தொடங்கிய எதையும் அவருடைய வழியிலே எங்களுடைய முத்தமிழறிஞர் தலைவர் கலைஞர் சொன்னார், தொடங்கிய எதையும் தொடர்ந்து முடிக்கின்ற வலிமையும் தெற்கிற்கு உண்டு என்று சொன்னார். ஆகவேதான் தொடர்ந்த போராட்டமாக நிதி ஆயோக் என்னும் அந்த அமைப்பு 13 தளங்களிலே முதல் இடத்திலே இருக்கின்ற பெருமை தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு உரியது என்று சொல்லி இருக்கின்ற அந்த நிதி ஆயோக் கூட்டத்தை எங்களுடைய தமிழ்நாட்டினுடைய முதலமைச்சர் புறக்கணித்திருக்கின்றார். அடுத்த அண்டை மாநிலத்தினுடைய முதலமைச்சர் அவர்களும் புறக்கணித்திருக்கின்றார்கள். எங்களுடைய அன்பிற்குரிய மாநிலங்களான சிக்கிம், ஹிமாச்சல் பிரதேசம், உத்தரகண்ட் ஆகிய மாநிலங்களுக்கு பேரிடர் மேலாண்மை நிதி வழங்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. அதிலே எங்களுக்கு மனமாச்சரியம் இல்லை, மனக்குறைபாடு கிடையாது. ஏனென்றால் அனைத்து மாநிலங்களையும் சகோதர உணர்வோடு பார்க்கின்றவர் தான் எங்களுடைய முதலமைச்சர். ஹிமாச்சல பிரதேசத்திற்கு 10 கோடி ரூபாய் நிவாரண நிதியை அனுப்பி வைத்திருக்கின்றார். கேரள மாநிலத்திற்கு வெள்ள பேரிடர் நிதியை அனுப்பி வைத்திருக்கின்றார். சொல்ல போனார், மணிப்பூரிலே பாதிக்கப்பட்ட நம்முடைய பெண்களுக்கு அவர்கள் தங்கியிருக்கின்ற அந்த முகாமிற்கு நிவாரண நிதியை அனுப்பி வைத்திருக்கின்றார். ஒடிசாவிலே ரயில் விபத்து ஏற்பட்ட பொழுது உடனடியாக முகாம் அமைத்து 24 மணி நேரம் மையம் அமைத்து பேரிடர் அந்த பயணிகளை எடுத்து கொண்டு வருவதற்கான உதவிகளை செய்திருக்கின்றார். இவ்வளவும் நாங்கள் செய்திருக்கின்றோம், யாரையும் குறை சொல்லவில்லை. ஆனால் எங்களுடைய சென்னை வெள்ளத்திலே தத்தளித்த பொழுது, மக்கள் துயரத்திலே உழன்ற பொழுது பல்வேறு முறை வந்த அமைச்சர்கள் இதுகாரும் நாங்கள் 37,000 கோடி கேட்டோம், ஆனால் எங்களுக்கு தந்தது 276 கோடி, அதிலும் சட்டபூர்வமான தொகைதான். இதுதான் பிரதமர் முன்வைக்கின்ற அகண்ட பாரதமா? நம்முடைய நிதியமைச்சர் அவர்கள் தமிழ்நாட்டிலே பிறந்தவர், மகாகவி பாரதியாரை மிக நன்றாக அறிந்தவர். பிரதமர் அவர்களும் பாரதியாரையும் திருவள்ளுவரையும் அடிக்கடி எப்பொழுதும் மேற்கோள் காட்டுவார். பாரதியார் எங்கள் பாரத தேசம் என்று தோள் கட்டுவோம் என்று சொன்னார். அதே பாரதியார் தான் நெல்லையப்பருக்கு எழுதிய கடிதத்திலே சொல்லுகின்றார், தம்பி நான் ஏது செய்வேனடா, தமிழை காட்டிலும் ஒரு மொழி மிகச் சிறப்பானது என்று சொல்லும் பொழுது எனக்கு வருத்தம் உண்டாகின்றது. தமிழர்களை காட்டிலும் பிரிதொருவர் வலிமையானவர்கள், உயர்வானவர்கள் என்று சொல்லுவதிலே எனக்கு சம்மதம் இல்லை என்று சொன்னார். இதில் ஏதோ உயர்வு தாழ்ச்சி இவற்றை கொண்டு வரவில்லை, பாக பிரிவினை அல்லது எதை பற்றியும் நான் பேசவில்லை. ஆனால் உரிமை என்று வரும் பொழுது நம்முடைய உரிமைக்காக குரல் கொடுக்க வேண்டும். உங்கள் எதிரிகள் தான் உங்களுடைய ஆயுதத்தை தீர்மானிக்கிறார்கள் என்னும் செகுவாராவினுடைய அந்த சொற்றொடரை பின்பற்றி இன்றைக்கு நாங்கள் எங்கள் உரிமை குரலை இங்கே ஒலிக்க வேண்டியவர்களாக இருக்கின்றோம். கூட்டணி கட்சிகளை மட்டுமே திருப்திப்படுத்த சமர்ப்பிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்ற இந்த பட்ஜெட்டை நான் it is not an all India budget, it is an alliance budget என்று சொல்லுகின்றேன். ஏனென்றால் கூட்டணியிலே அங்கம் வகிக்காத ஓர் இடத்திலே கூட இந்த என்டிஏ கூட்டணியை வெற்றி பெற செய்யாத எங்களுடைய தமிழ்நாடு முற்றிலுமாக புறக்கணிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு என்று எந்த பிரதானமான மிகப்பெரிய திட்டங்கள் எதுவுமே இங்கே கொடுக்கப்படவில்லை. நெடுஞ்சாலை திட்டமாகட்டும், ரயில் திட்டங்களாகட்டும், அல்லது கோவை மதுரை நகரங்களுக்கான மெட்ரோ ரயில் குறித்த திட்டங்களாகட்டும், அத்தனையும் கிடப்பிலே போடப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. ஒன்றை இங்கே சுட்டிக்காட்ட விரும்புகின்றேன். இங்கே நிதி அமைச்சர் அறிவித்திருக்கின்ற பல திட்டங்கள் எங்களுடைய திராவிட மாடல் ஆட்சியிலே இருந்து எடுக்கப்பட்ட திட்டங்களாகும். 1000 தொழிற்பயிற்சி மையங்கள் மேம்பாட்டு திட்டமாகட்டும், மகளிருக்கான தோழி விடுதிகள், அது அங்கே தமிழ்நாட்டிலே மிகச் சிறப்பாக நடைபெறுகிறது. தொழிலாளர் தங்கும் விடுதிகளாகட்டும், ஏற்கனவே செயல்படுத்தப்பட்டு வரும் திட்டங்களை அவர் எடுத்து கையாண்டிருப்பதற்காக அந்த நன்றிக்காகவாவது தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு அவர் நிதியை ஒதுக்கி இருக்க வேண்டாமா? ஏற்கனவே நிதிச்சுமையிலே தள்ளாடி கொண்டிருக்கின்ற தமிழ்நாடு, உதாரணத்திற்கு தென் சென்னை தொகுதியை எடுத்துக்கொண்டீர்கள் என்றால், சென்னை மெட்ரோ 2ஆம் கட்ட ரயில் திட்டம் இருக்கிறது அல்லவா? அதற்கான அடிக்கட் 2010ஆம் ஆண்டு நம்முடைய மாண்புமிகு ஒன்றிய அமைச்சர் அவர்களால் நாட்டப்பட்டது. சென்னையிலே கலைவாணர் அரங்கத்திலே 2011ஆம் ஆண்டு நம்முடைய மாண்புமிகு பிரதமர் அவர்கள் அதற்கு நிதியை அறிவிக்கின்றார், 63,000 கோடி அளிக்கப்படும் என்று. ஆனால் இன்று வரை ஒரு அம்மஞ்சல்லி கூட, அதாவது ஒரு நையா பைசா கூட அந்த திட்டத்திற்கு ஒதுக்கவில்லை. தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்கள் அனைவரும் நம் மக்கள் என்னும் கருணை உள்ளத்தோடு எங்களுடைய மாண்புமிகு முதலமைச்சர் அவர்கள் 33,000 கோடி ரூபாய் ஒதுக்கி அந்த பணியை துவக்கி இருக்கின்றார். ஏற்கனவே அந்த நிதி சுமை. இப்பொழுது பாருங்கள், பிரதம மந்திரியின் வீடு வழங்கும் திட்டத்தில் அடுத்த 5 ஆண்டுகளில் 3 கோடி வீடுகள் கட்டப்படும் என்று அறிவித்திருக்கின்றார் நிதியமைச்சர். ஒரு வீட்டிற்கான ஒன்றிய அரசின் பங்கினை உயர்த்துவது குறித்து இந்த நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையிலே எந்த விதமான அறிவிப்பும் இல்லை. ஒன்றிய அரசின் பங்கு ஒரு வீடு கட்டுவதற்கு 1.5 லட்சம் என்றால் மாநில அரசாங்கம் 12 இருந்து 14 லட்சம் ரூபாய் செலவு செய்ய வேண்டும். ஆனால் செலவழிப்பது மாநில அரசாங்கம், திட்டத்தின் பெயர் மட்டும் பிரதம மந்திரி வீடு கட்டுகின்ற திட்டம். இது எந்த விதத்திலே நியாயம்? இன்னும் சொல்ல போனால் முத்திரைத்தாள் மாநில அரசுகளின் பட்டியலில் உள்ளது, அதனை குறைக்குமாறு மாநில அரசுகளுக்கு அறிவுறுத்தி இருக்கின்றது. எங்களுடைய தமிழ்நாட்டு முதலமைச்சர் கேட்கின்றார், அறிவுறுத்துகிறீர்கள், ஆனால் அதற்கான இழப்பீட்டு தொகையை நீங்கள் வழங்க வேண்டும் அல்லவா? ஏற்கனவே தமிழ்நாட்டின் சரக்கு சேவை வரி விதிப்பால் தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு ஆண்டொன்றுக்கு ஏற்பட்ட 20,000 கோடி ரூபாய் இழப்பிற்கு இதுவரை நீங்கள் இழப்பீடு வழங்கியிருக்கிறீர்களா என்று கேட்கின்றார். அவர் மட்டும் அல்ல, தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்கள் அத்தனை பேரும் கேட்கின்றார்கள். இந்த பட்ஜெட் என்பது 5 அம்ச திட்டங்களை உள்ளடக்கியதாக இருக்கிறது. இட் இஸ் a prime minister's package என்று நிதிநிலை அமைச்சர் அவர்கள் தெரிவித்திருக்கின்றார். சென்ற இன்டரிம் பட்ஜெட்டிலேயே ஒரு பிராட் ஃப்ரேம்வொர்க்கில் பெண்கள், உழவர்கள், ஏழைகள், இளைஞர்கள் இவர்களுக்கு முன்னுரிமை கொடுத்து இந்த பட்ஜெட் சிறப்பாக செயல்படுத்தப்படும் என்று சொல்லியிருந்தால் அதிலே ஒரு சிறிய ஒரு உள்கட்டமாக இந்த பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர்ஸ் பேக்கேஜை அறிவித்திருக்கின்றார். வேலை வாய்ப்பு, கல்வி, திறன் மேம்பாடு, பெண்களுக்கான முன்னேற்றம் என்பதுதான் அந்த 5 அம்ச திட்டம். வேலை வாய்ப்பை எடுத்துக்கொள்ளுங்கள். அடுத்த 5 ஆண்டுகளில் 4.1 கோடி இளைஞர்களுக்கு வேலை வாய்ப்பு, திறன் மேம்பாடு முயற்சிகளுக்கு 2 லட்சம் கோடி செலவு செய்யப்படும் என்கின்றார். 2014 5.44% இருந்த வேலை வாய்ப்பின்மை அன்எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் 2024 9.2 உயர்ந்திருக்கின்றது. சமீபத்திலே குஜராத் மாநிலத்தில் பரூச் மாவட்டத்தில் அங்கலீஸ்வர் என்கின்ற ஊரில் தனியார் நிறுவனம் நடத்திய ஒரு நேர்காணலில் ஆயிரக்கணக்கான இளைஞர்கள் கூடிய அந்த கட்டடமே இடிந்து விழுகின்ற அபாயத்தை வந்தது. இதுதான் 10 ஆண்டு கால பாஜக அரசினுடைய சாதனை. உடனே அடுத்ததாக திறன் மேம்பாட்டுக்கு வாருங்கள். 5 ஆண்டுகளில் 500 நிறுவனங்களில் 1 கோடி இளைஞர்களுக்கு இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் வாய்ப்புகள் தரப்படும், ஊக்கத்தொகை 5000 அளிக்கப்படும் என்கிறார்கள். இந்த இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் பயிற்சி செலவில் 10% இந்த நிறுவனங்கள் CSR நிதியிலே இருந்து வழங்குமாம். அதாவது 5 ஆண்டுகளில் 60,000 கோடி ரூபாய். இவையும் பெரு நிறுவனங்களுக்கு மட்டுமே பயன் தரும். MSME என்று சொல்லப்படுகின்ற சிறு குறு நிறுவனங்களோ அல்லது ஸ்டார்ட் அப்போ இவையால் பயன்பெறப் போவதில்லை. அடுத்த 5 ஆண்டுகளில் 20 லட்சம் இளைஞர்களுக்கு திறன் பயிற்சி வழங்குவதாக அறிவித்திருக்கின்றார் நிதியமைச்சர். ஆனால் பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களே, தமிழ்நாட்டில் மட்டும் ஒரு ஆண்டிற்கு 15 லட்சத்திற்கு மேற்பட்ட இளைஞர்களுக்கு திறன் மேம்பாட்டு பயிற்சி வழங்கி வருகின்றார் எங்களுடைய முதலமைச்சர். ஃபார்மல் செக்டரில் முதன்முறையாக பணியிலே சேர்கின்ற இளைஞர்களுக்கு 1 மாத ஊதியம் வழங்கப்படும். அவர்கள் EPFO என்ரோல் செய்யப்பட்டு அதற்கு பின்பாக குறைந்தபட்சம் 15,000 ரூபாய் அல்லது உயர்ந்தபட்சம் 1 லட்சம் ஊதியம் பெற்றால் மட்டுமே இந்த 1 மாத ஊதியம் அவர்களுக்கு வழங்கப்படும். ஒன்றை நினைவூட்டுகின்றேன், குறைந்தபட்சம் 20 தொழிலாளர்கள் இருந்தால்தான் ஒரு நிறுவனம் EPFO சட்டத்திற்குள் வரும். ஆகவே இதுவும் சிறு குறு தொழில்கள் நிறுவனங்களுக்கு பயன் தராது, பெரு முதலாளிகளுக்கு, பெரு நிறுவனங்களுக்கு மட்டுமே பயன்படும். பெண்கள் முன்னேற்றமாம் 3 லட்சம் கோடிகள் அதற்கு ஒதுக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. ஆனால் கிராமப்புற பொருளாதாரத்தை அடியோடு சீர்குலைக்கின்ற மன்ரேகா திட்டத்திற்கான நிதி முற்றிலுமாக முடக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. இது எப்படி இருக்கின்றது? நாரி சக்தி என்று சொல்லுகிறீர்கள். இதுகாரும் எங்களுடைய பாதிக்கப்பட்ட மணிப்பூர் பெண்களுக்கான நிவாரண நிதியை இந்த அரசு வழங்கி இருக்கின்றதா? மன்ரேகா நிதியை முற்றிலுமாக குறைத்துவிட்டு மணிப்பூர் பெண்களுக்கு அந்த நிவாரண உதவியை வழங்காமல் இருப்பது என்பது எப்படி இருக்கிறது தெரியுமா? படிப்பது ராமாயணம், இடிப்பது பெருமாள் கோயில் என்பது போலல்லவா இருக்கின்றது. இன்னும் சொல்ல போனால் ஒன்றை நான் உங்களிடையே இங்கே சுட்டிக்காட்ட விரும்புகின்றேன். கல்வி, வேலை வாய்ப்பு, திறன் மேம்பாட்டு திறன், பெண்கள் முன்னேற்றம், இப்படி Sir, I am the second speaker, just 5 minutes. இப்படி அனைத்திலுமே அடிப்படை கட்டமைப்புகளை சிதைத்துவிட்டு கோபுரத்திலே உங்களை உட்கார வைப்போம் என்கின்ற பொய் வாக்குறுதிகளை அள்ளி தெளிப்பதாக இருக்கின்றது. கல்வி என்று வரும்பொழுது நீங்கள் அடிப்படை கல்விக்கான இவ்வளவு கோடிகள் ஒதுக்குகிறீர்கள் என்று சொல்கின்றீர்கள். ஆனால் மேற்படிப்புக்காக நடைபெறுகின்ற நுழைவுத் தேர்வுகளிலே நடைபெறுகின்ற மோசடி, வினாத்தாள் கசிவு, இன்னும் சொல்ல போனால் உலகில் எங்குமே கேள்விப்படாத அளவிற்கு நகைச்சுவைக்கு உரிய கிரேஸ் மார்க் தருகின்ற மதிப்பெண்கள் தருகின்ற, it has become a biggest farce of the century. தருகின்ற முறையை ஒழித்து கட்டாமல் கல்விக்காக நாங்கள் மேம்பாட்டு நிதி ஒதுக்குவோம் என்பது மிக நகைப்பிற்கு உரியதாக இருக்கின்றது. ஆகவேதான் நான் இந்த பட்ஜெட்டை a base budget, BASE in caps, without a base என்கின்றேன். It is a Bihar, Andhra Pradesh satisfying elbow greasing budget, base budget without any base. நான் இங்கு 1910ஆம் ஆண்டு 11ஆம் ஆண்டு பிரிட்டிஷ் பாராளுமன்றத்திலே அன்றைய லிபரல் அரசாங்கத்தினால் சமர்ப்பிக்கப்பட்ட நிதிநிலை அறிக்கை ஒன்றை சுட்ட விரும்புகின்றேன். பீப்பிள்ஸ் பட்ஜெட் என்று அது இன்றளவும் பாராட்டப்படுகின்றது. ஏனென்றால் அது பிரிட்டனில் உள்ள வசதிமிக்க பெருமுதலாளிகளிடம் உள்ள பணத்தை அவர்களிடம் வரியாக பெற்று சமூக நலன் சார்ந்த திட்டங்களுக்கு பயன்படுத்தும் அறிவிப்பை வெளியிட்டது. அதை தயாரித்தவர்கள் டெரிபிள் ட்வின்ஸ் என்று சொல்லப்படுகின்ற அன்றைய சான்சலர் ஆஃப் எக்ஸெக்கர் டேவிட் லாய்ட் ஜார்ஜ், அவரது நண்பர் வின்ஸ்டன் சர்ச்சில். ஆனால் இந்த பட்ஜெட் அதற்கு எதிர்மாறாக மாநிலங்களை மாற்றாந்தாய் மனப்பான்மையோடு அணுகுகின்ற step motherly budgets. I would like to quote our party supremo, the founder of our party, அவர் பேரறிஞர் அண்ணாதுரை இங்கே மேலவை உறுப்பினராக இருந்த பொழுது அவர் பேசியதை இங்கே குறிப்பிட விரும்புகின்றேன். I quote, "What right has this government to demand more and more taxes when their performance is of such a low order?" I think that this government, after having taxed the people so much, has not given proper returns or proper accounts to the nation. Therefore, though I realize that I do not have the power to stop it, I cannot abet a crime of allocating colossal sums to this inefficient, unrealistic, unresponsive and undemocratic government that is being carried on. But whatever may be the criticism that is offered on this side, they have their numbers and their logic is based on numbers. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, offering this criticism, we have to go to the other forum and receive justice from the only one source, the public. And Mr. Chairman, we are confident of getting a proper verdict. Those were the words by our CNN-A. We have had a proper verdict. எங்களுடைய மக்கள் மிகச் சரியான தீர்ப்பை வழங்கியதால் தான் மெஜாரிட்டியாக இருந்த பாஜக அரசாங்கம் இன்றைக்கு மைனாரிட்டியாக இருக்கின்றது. மேலும் தமிழன் என்றொரு இனம் உண்டு, தனியே அவருக்கு ஒரு குணம் உண்டு. இதை மறந்து மேலும் தமிழர்களை, தமிழ்நாட்டை இந்த அரசாங்கம் வஞ்சிக்குமானால், நம்முடைய மாண்புமிகு நிதியமைச்சர் அவர்கள் சிலப்பதிகாரத்தை மிக நன்றாக அறிவார். அந்த காப்பியத்தில் இளங்கோ அடிகள் கூறிய அந்த வரியை நான் நினைவூட்டுகின்றேன். மேலும் தமிழ்நாட்டை, தமிழ் மக்களை வஞ்சித்தால் இளங்கோ அடிகளுடைய அந்த வரிகளைத்தான் நான் நினைவூட்ட வேண்டும். அரசியல் பிழைத்தோருக்கு அறம் கூற்றாகும், அரசியல் பிழைத்தோருக்கு அறம் கூற்றாகும். நன்றி.
మాననీయ గౌరవనీయ ఎంపీ గారు బి నాగరాజ్ గారు.
మొదటి పార్లమెంట్లో అడుగు పెట్టడానికి అవకాశం ఇచ్చినటువంటి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రి వర్యులైనటువంటి గౌరవనీయులైన చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారికి మరియు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ఐకాన్ యూత్కు అయినటువంటి నారా లోకేష్ గారికి ఈ పార్లమెంట్ సాక్షిగా నేను ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. ఇకపోతే భారతదేశం యొక్క ఔన్నత్యాన్ని ప్రపంచ దేశాలకు చాటి చెప్పినటువంటి ఘనత అయినటువంటి నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారుతోనే ఈ ప్రజలు బాగుంటారని భావించి ముచ్చటగా మూడవసారి నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో పార్లమెంటు సుభిక్షంగా బడ్జెట్ సమావేశాలు ఈ విధంగా జరుగుతున్నాయంటే దీనికి నా శిరస్సు వంచిన అభినందిస్తున్నాను ప్రధానమంత్రి వర్యుల్ని. ఇకపోతే నిన్న జరిగినటువంటి బడ్జెట్ వాస్తవంగా విప్లవాత్మకమైన బడ్జెట్ అని భావిస్తున్నాం మేము. అధ్యక్ష, నిన్న చెప్పినటువంటి ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్ చెప్పినటువంటి కొన్ని అంశాలు ఏమంటే నేను మరొక్కసారి ఉచ్చరించాలని చెప్పి భావిస్తున్నాను. ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రం యొక్క పరిస్థితిని ఆలోచించి అమరావతి క్యాపిటల్కు 15,000 కోట్ల రూపాయలను ప్రకటించారు. అంతేగాక పోలవరం ప్రాజెక్టును కంప్లీట్గా ప్రధానమంత్రి గారు భుజ సంఘాలు వేసుకొని కంప్లీట్ చేస్తామని చెప్పేసి గట్టిగా హామీ ఇచ్చారు. రెండో అంశం. ఇకపోతే మూడో అంశం, రాయలసీమ చాలా వెనుకబడిందని చెప్పేసి రాయలసీమ ప్రాంతంతో పాటు కలిపి ప్రకాశం జిల్లా అయితేనేమి ఉత్తరాంధ్ర కలిపి స్పెషల్ ప్యాకేజీ కింద మాకు అలాట్మెంట్ చేస్తామని చెప్పినందుకు చాలా సంతోషిస్తున్నాం. అంతేగాక ఇండస్ట్రియల్గా డెవలప్ చేయాలని చెప్పేసి వైజాగ్ టు చెన్నై కారిడార్ మధ్యలో కొప్పర్తి అనే ఒక నోడ్ను, బెంగళూరు టు హైదరాబాద్ మధ్య బోర్వకల్ అనే ఒక నోడ్ను మాకు ఆ రెంటిని శాంక్షన్ చేసి ఆ నోడ్లకు రైల్వే పరంగా అయితేనేమి, వాటర్ సోర్స్ అయితేనేమి, రోడ్స్ అయితేనేమి చేస్తున్నందుకు ఈ బడ్జెట్లో మరొక్కసారి ప్రధానమంత్రి వర్యులకు మరియు ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్ నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ గారికి నా శిరస్సు వంచి నమస్కరిస్తున్నాను. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, పదే పదే ఈ సభలో అక్కడి నుండి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ బీహార్ బడ్జెట్ అని చెప్పేసి అంటున్నందుకు మాకు చాలా బాధగా ఉన్నది ఒక మాటలో. ఎందుకంటే ఈ భారతదేశంలో ప్రతి రాష్ట్రానికి రాజధాని అనేది ఉంది, కానీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్కు చుక్కం లేని నామా ఉంది. రాజధాని అనేది నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో అమరావతి అని చెప్పి శిలాశాసనం వేశారు ఆ రోజుల్లో 2014 సంవత్సరంలో. అటువంటి అమరావతికి ఈరోజు ఫండ్స్ కేటాయిస్తే పదే పదే వాళ్ళు ఆంక్షలు తెలియజేస్తూ ఉంటే మాకు కొంచెం బాధ అనిపించింది. మేము కూడా దేశంలో ఉన్నటువంటి వాళ్ళమే. ఇకపోతే వాస్తవంగా మా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్ర ప్రజల పరిస్థితులు ఏ విధంగా ఉన్నాయంటే ఈ సభ ద్వారా తమరందరికీ విన్నవించుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను. పోలవరం ప్రాజెక్ట్ అనేది చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో 2014 సంవత్సరంలో 73% కంప్లీట్ చేసి ఆయన నాయకత్వంలో చేస్తే గత ప్రభుత్వం వచ్చేసి ఆ ప్రాజెక్ట్ని నీరుగార్చింది కంప్లీట్గా. 3.84% కంప్లీట్గా సివిల్ వర్క్లో ప్రోగ్రెస్ అనేది చూపించలేకపోయింది కనీసం. కాబట్టి పోలవరం ప్రాజెక్టును కంప్లీట్ చేస్తామని చెప్పేసి మాకు హామీ ఇచ్చారు. మా రైతులకు లైఫ్ లైన్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ అది, జీవనాడి. మా రాష్ట్రం సుభిక్షంగా ఉండాలంటే పోలవరం ప్రాజెక్టు కంప్లీట్ కావాలని చెప్పేసి అందులో భాగంగా గత ప్రభుత్వం చేసిన కుట్రలకు పారదోలి ఈ నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారి యొక్క గవర్నమెంట్లో పోలవరం సుభిక్షంగా ఉంటుందని చెప్పేసి ఆశిస్తున్నాం. ఇకపోతే ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్కు అమరావతి విషయంలో గత ప్రభుత్వంలో 3 రాజధానుల పేరిట ప్రజలంతా నయవంచనకు గురి చేసినటువంటి ప్రభుత్వం ఏదైనా గత ప్రభుత్వం 3 రాజధానులు ఎక్కడ లేని విషయంగా తీసుకొచ్చారు. నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారు స్వయంగా ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ గారు ఆ రోజుల్లో వచ్చి శిలాఫలకం వేస్తే కూడా దాన్ని కాదని చెప్పేసి 3 రాజధానులు ప్రకటించారంటే ఎంత ఘోరంగా పరిపాలించారు గత ప్రభుత్వంలో ఒక్కసారి ఆలోచించగలరు. అటువంటి కర్మ లేకుండా మరొక్కసారి చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో ఇప్పుడు ప్రజలంతా బ్రహ్మాండంగా 93% ఓట్ బ్యాంక్ వేసి ఏకపక్షంగా ప్రభుత్వాన్ని మళ్ళీ తీసుకొచ్చారు. ఎందుకంటే చంద్రబాబు గారు అయితేనే ఈ రాష్ట్రానికి ఒక నావా, ఒక చుక్కాని అని చెప్పేసి భావించి రాష్ట్రాన్ని బాగుపరిచేది. ఇక్కడ రాష్ట్రంలో చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారి యొక్క జనసేన, బీజేపీ అలయన్స్ ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ గవర్నమెంట్, సెంట్రల్లో ఉన్నటువంటి మోదీ గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలోనే ఈ అమరావతి ఫిలప్ అవుతుందని చెప్పేసి ప్రజలంతా విశ్వసించి 93% ఓట్ బ్యాంక్తో రాష్ట్రాన్ని కట్టబెట్టారు. అందులో భాగంగా నిన్న మాకు నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ మేడం గారు అమరావతికి 15,000 కోట్లు శాంక్షన్ చేసినందుకు మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. అంతేగాక ఎకానమీ విషయానికి వస్తే రాష్ట్రం గత ప్రభుత్వంలో చంద్రబాబు గారు పరిపాలించేటప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ అయిపోయినప్పుడు 3.5లో 3.5 లక్షల కోట్లతో రాష్ట్రాన్ని గత ప్రభుత్వం వాళ్ళకి అప్పచెప్పిపోతే గత ప్రభుత్వం 5 సంవత్సరాల పరిధిలో 13.5 లక్షల కోట్లు అప్పు చేసి రాష్ట్రాన్ని విధ్వంసం చేసి పెట్టింది. రాష్ట్రాన్ని రావణకాశం చేసి పెట్టారు గత ప్రభుత్వం వాళ్ళు. ఇట్లుందని చెప్పేసి చంద్రబాబు గారు 2014 నుంచి 2019 మధ్యన పరిపాలనలో భాగంగా రాష్ట్రం బైఫర్గేషన్ అయితే కూడా 6,000 కోట్ల లోటు బడ్జెట్ ఉంటే కూడా జీడిపి విషయంలో 13% గ్రోత్ రేట్ తెచ్చినటువంటి ఘనత చంద్రబాబు గారిది. అయితే గత ప్రభుత్వంలో 9% తీసుకుపోయాడు గత ప్రభుత్వం. అంటే రాష్ట్రాన్ని దివాలా కోరతనం చేసినటువంటి ప్రభుత్వం ఏదంటే గత ప్రభుత్వమే. ఇకపోతే పర్ క్యాపిటల్ ఇన్కమ్ తీసుకుంటే 2014-2019లో 9% ఇంక్రీజ్ ఉండేది. 2019 లాస్ట్ గవర్నమెంట్లో 3% పడిపోయింది. అంటే గత ప్రభుత్వం చేసినటువంటి విధ్వంసం అంతా ఇంత కాదు. కాబట్టి మా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రాన్ని ఆదుకోవాల్సినటువంటి బాధ్యత ఎంతైనా ఉంది కేంద్రంలో. కాబట్టి మేము వాళ్ళని మరొకసారి మా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రం మీద బాగా వారి యొక్క దృష్టి ఉండాలని చెప్పేసి కోరుకుంటాను. అంతేగాక ఇకపోతే ప్రతిష్టాత్మకంగా సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారి యొక్క ఆధ్వర్యంలో తీసుకున్నటువంటి జల్ జీవన్ మిషన్, జేజేఎం, హర్ ఘర్ ఈ పథకాల విషయంలో గత ప్రభుత్వం ఏం చేసిందంటే అధ్యక్ష, వాస్తవంగా సెంట్రల్ ఫండ్స్ని వాడుకోలేనటువంటి దుస్థితి. అలొకేషన్ డబ్బులు రాష్ట్రం నుంచి ఇవ్వాల్సిన డబ్బులు ఇవ్వక సెంట్రల్ నుంచి ఆ ఫండ్స్ తీసుకోక నిర్వీర్యం చేసి రాష్ట్రాన్ని జల్ జీవన్ మిషన్ కింద కూడా రాష్ట్ర ప్రజలకు త్రాగునీరు లేకుండా చేసినటువంటి ఘోరమైన ప్రభుత్వం గత ప్రభుత్వం. కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు వచ్చినటువంటి చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో ప్రతి ఇంటికి కుళాయి నీరు ఇవ్వాలని ఒక మహాసంకల్పంతో ఉన్నారు. కాబట్టి జల్ జీవన్ మిషన్ కింద రాష్ట్ర ప్రజలందరికీ త్రాగునీటిని స్థాపించాల్సిన ఆవశ్యకత ఎంతైనా ఉందని తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. ఇకపోతే పిఎం ఆవాస్ యోజన కింద నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారు గొప్ప సంకల్పంతో పెట్టారు పిఎం ఆవాస్ యోజన అని చెప్పేసి. 2014-2019 మధ్యన చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో బ్రహ్మాండంగా ఎన్నో ఇండ్లు కట్టేసి రాష్ట్రం అంతా మొత్తం ఆవాస్ యోజన కింద కట్టిన బిల్డింగ్లకు ఇంత నీరు, ఇంత కరెంట్ ఇచ్చింటే బ్రహ్మాండంగా పేదలంతా చేరేవారు. అటువంటి వాటిని కూడా గత ప్రభుత్వం నిర్లక్ష్యం చేసి ఎక్కడ ఉండే వాళ్ళని అక్కడ పెట్టేసి దాన్ని బిల్డింగ్ని నిర్వీర్యం చేసినట్టు. మొన్న రీసెంట్గా మేము ఈ ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేసిన తర్వాత మా కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ పోయిన తర్వాత మేము పోయిన తర్వాత అక్కడ ఓపెనింగ్ చేసి సదుపాయాలు కల్పించడానికి చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో అవి ఒక వెలుగుతున్నాయి ఇప్పుడు. ఇకపోతే ఉమెన్ ఎన్ఫోర్స్మెంట్ కింద చూస్తే ఉమెన్స్కు వాస్తవంగా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రంలో 30,000 మంది మిస్సింగ్ అయ్యారని చెప్పేసి ఎన్సీఆర్బీ రిపోర్ట్ ఉంది. ఇక్కడ ఎన్సీఆర్బీ రిపోర్ట్ ఉంది. అంటే ఎంత దారుణంగా పరిపాలించారో, హత్యలైతేనేవి, అత్యాచారాలైతేనేవి. ఆ విధంగా గత ప్రభుత్వంలో చాలా ఇది ఉందని చెప్పేసి నిన్నటి బడ్జెట్లో నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ గారు బ్రహ్మాండంగా పెద్దపీట వేశారు ఉమెన్కు. కాబట్టి మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను మేడం గారికి. అటుపోతే యూత్ ఎంప్లాయీస్ విషయానికి వస్తే గత ప్రభుత్వంలో మా రాష్ట్రంలో టార్చ్ లైట్ చూస్తే కూడా ఒక చిన్న ఉద్యోగం అంటూ లేదు, ఒక నోటిఫికేషన్ అంటూ లేదు. అసలు ఈ గవర్నమెంట్ వచ్చి నెల రోజులు కాకముందే చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారు 16,000 పోస్టులకు నోటిఫికేషన్ ఇచ్చారు డిఎస్సికి. యూత్ విషయానికి వస్తే ఆ విధంగా ఉంది. ఎంప్లాయీస్కి అయితే గత ప్రభుత్వంలో జీతాలు ఇచ్చి దిక్కు కూడా లేదు. అంటే ఎక్కడికక్కడ విధ్వంసమైనటువంటి రాష్ట్రాన్ని ఆదుకోవాల్సినటువంటి బాధ్యత కేంద్రానికి ఎంతైనా ఉందని చెప్పేసి తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. ఇకపోతే ఎస్సీ ఎస్టీ సబ్ ప్లాన్ నిధులు కూడా డైవర్షన్ చేసేసి ఆయన నవరత్నాలు అని చెప్పేసి గత ప్రభుత్వం ఒక ప్రోగ్రాం పెట్టింది. ఆ నవరత్నాలను డైవర్ట్ చేసి ఎస్సీ ఎస్టీ బీసీ సబ్ ప్లాన్ నిధులు కూడా వాడేశారు. అంటే ఈ విధంగా రాష్ట్రం ఎక్కడికక్కడ విధ్వంసం అయిపోయినది అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే వాస్తవంగా నేను కర్నూలు ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రంలో అత్యంత డ్రాట్ ఏరియా ఏదైందంటే కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ నుంచి నేను ఎలక్ట్ అయ్యాను. కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్లో పరిస్థితి ఏ విధంగా ఉన్నాయంటే ఈరోజు కూడా కర్నూలు అంటేనే కరువుకు వలసలకు నిలయం. అటువంటి కర్నూలు ప్రాంతాన్ని ఈరోజు నిన్నటి బడ్జెట్లో రాయలసీమకు ప్రత్యేక నిధులు ఇస్తామని చెప్పేసి నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ మేడం గారు ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్ గారు చెప్పినందుకు మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాం మా ప్రాంతాన్ని గుర్తించినందుకు. ఇకపోతే నేను చెప్పేది ఏమంటే ముఖ్యంగా ఈ పార్లమెంట్ సాక్షిగా వాస్తవంగా గ్రౌండ్లో కర్నూలు నుంచి ఈ 75 ఏళ్ళ స్వాతంత్రం వస్తే కూడా మాకు ఇరిగేషన్కి ఓ చిన్న ప్రాజెక్ట్ అంటూ లేదు అధ్యక్ష. సపరేట్ ప్యాకేజ్ ఇస్తాం అన్నారు కాబట్టి అందులో భాగంగా మాకు ఇచ్చే కోట ఆ చిన్నది కాకుండా కొంచెం పెద్ద మనసుతో వాళ్ళు బాగా భావించి ఇరిగేషన్ విషయంలో మాకు పెద్దపీట వేయాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం అధ్యక్ష. ఎందుకంటే ఈ రోజు వరకు కూడా ఒక ఎకరాకు సాగునీరు లేదు. వేదావతి అయితేనేమి, గుండ్రేళ్ల ప్రాజెక్ట్ అయితేనేమి, మాకు ఇకపోతే ఆర్డీఎస్ రైట్ కెనాల్ ఈ 3 వస్తే మా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ అంత సుభిక్షంగా ఉంటుంది. అంతేగాక కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ పరిధిలో ఒక నేషనల్ హైవే కూడా లేదు అధ్యక్ష. ఒక నేషనల్ హైవే పార్లమెంట్ పరిధిలో ఒక నేషనల్ హైవే లేదు. అందుకే కర్నూలు నుంచి బళ్ళారి వరకు మాకు ఒక హైవే ఏమని చెప్పేసి పదే వినియోగించుకుంటాం. చేస్తారని కూడా నాకు ఒక హోప్ ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారి యొక్క ఆధ్వర్యంలో రాష్ట్రం అయితేనేమి దేశం అయితేనేమి సుభిక్షంగా ఉంటుందని చెప్పేసి ఒక హోప్ అయితే ఉంది నాకు. ఇకపోతే కర్నూలు విషయానికి వస్తే ఒక హాస్పిటల్ ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. మాకంతా ఒకటే హాస్పిటల్ ఉంది, జనరల్ హాస్పిటల్ అని చెప్పేసి అది ఏమి స్థాయికి చేయాలని చెప్పేసి చంద్రబాబు గారి నాయకత్వంలో ఏం జరిగిందంటే ఒక క్యాన్సర్ యూనిట్ని సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ కడతామని చెప్పారు. ఆ రోజులో బైఫర్గేషన్ యూనిట్ల ప్రకారం క్యాన్సర్ యూనిట్ కడతామని చెప్పేసి బైఫర్గేషన్లోనే ఉంది. అటువంటి యూనిట్ని చంద్రబాబు గారు శాంక్షన్ చేసి మా హాస్పిటల్కి పరిపాలనలో భాగంగా గవర్నమెంట్ మారిన తర్వాత గత ప్రభుత్వం వాళ్ళు నిర్లక్ష్యం చేసి ఓన్లీ సగం బిల్డింగ్ కట్టేసి ఆపేశారు అధ్యక్ష. దాన్ని ప్రత్యేక చొరవ తీసుకుని ఆ క్యాన్సర్ హాస్పిటల్ని తయారు చేసి మా జిల్లా ప్రజలకు అందించాలని చెప్పేసి కూడా నేను కోరుకుంటున్నాను. అంతేగాక మా కరువు వలసల నుంచి బారి నుంచి బయటపడాలంటే నరేంద్ర మోదీ గారితో అక్కడ చంద్రబాబు గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలోనే బాగుపడుతుంది. కాబట్టి ఏది ఏమైనా కూడా మాకు ఇరిగేషన్ విషయంలో అయితేనేమి, హాస్పిటల్ రంగంలో అయితేనేమి, యూత్ విషయంలో అయితేనేమి, నేషనల్ హైవేస్ విషయంలో అయితేనేమి ప్రత్యేక చొరవ తీసుకోవాలి. ఎందుకంటే డ్రాట్ ఏరియా వెనకబడిన ప్రాంతం. ఖచ్చితంగా ఏదేమైనా కూడా మా ప్రాంతాన్ని అభివృద్ధి చేయండి అని చెప్పేసి ఈ పార్లమెంట్ సాక్షిగా మరొక్కసారి నేను కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ ప్రజల తరఫున నా తల వంచి అడుగుతున్నాను. కాబట్టి ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినటువంటి స్పీకర్ గారికి, ఎందుకంటే మా ప్రసంగాన్ని ఇంత అత్యంతం విని ఉన్నందుకు మరొక్కసారి మా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్ర ప్రజల తరఫున, నా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ ప్రజల తరఫున ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తూ విరమించుకుంటాను.
माननीय सदस्य आलोक कुमार सुमन जी, श्री आलोक कुमार सुमन जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। सबसे पहले मैं माननीय यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का तीसरी बार ऐतिहासिक जीत पर अपने क्षेत्र की जनता, बिहार की जनता और अपने देश की जनता की तरफ से बधाई देता हूं। मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी एवं अपने परम आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री विकासपुर श्री नीतीश कुमार जी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, जिनके कुशल नेतृत्व में देश और बिहार राज्य के लिए महत्वपूर्ण और विकासपूर्ण बजट आया है। साथ साथ मैं माननीय अपने वित्त मंत्री जी को भी बधाई देता हूं, जिन्होंने सफलतापूर्वक देश का 7वां बजट विकास के लिए पेश किया। यह बजट सकारात्मक और स्वागत योग्य है, इसका मैं स्वागत करता हूं तहे दिल से। इस बजट में बिहार की ज़रूरतों को विशेष रूप से ध्यान रखा गया है तथा विभिन्न परियोजनाओं हेतु 58,600 करोड़ की भारी भरकम राशि की आवंटन की गई है। महोदय, इस बजट में बिहार की सड़क परियोजना, विद्युत परियोजना, एयरपोर्ट, मेडिकल कॉलेज और खेलकूद की संरचनाओं के लिए विशेष राशि का प्रावधान किया गया है, जो कि एक सराहनीय कदम है। आज भारत 144 करोड़ से अधिक नागरिक शक्ति के साथ अपना कदम आगे बढ़ा रहा है। 92 करोड़ से अधिक कार्यशील जनसंख्या यानी वर्किंग एज पॉपुलेशन के परिश्रम एवं माथे पर बहते पसीने ने देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को 327 लाख करोड़ से अधिक का बना दिया है। 7% से अधिक जीडीपी विकास दर से बढ़ता भारत विश्व की 5वीं अर्थव्यवस्था बन चुका है। महोदय, बजट 2024-25 में बिहार राज्य में एक्सप्रेसवे और गंगा नदी पर पुल के निर्माण हेतु 26,000 करोड़ रुपए का आवंटन आवश्यक ही नहीं बल्कि अभूतपूर्व है। बजट में 2,14,000 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से 2400 मेगावाट का बिजली संयंत्र स्थापित करने का प्रावधान भी सराहनीय है। महोदय, बिहार के लिए विशेष बजट में प्रावधान के लिए आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी एवं अपने वित्त मंत्री जी का मैं विशेष रूप से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मुदा इस बजट पर अपनी बात रखते हुए सरकार से यह मांग करता हूं कि हमारे सब्या एयरफील्ड हथुआ गोपालगंज, जो कि 473 एकड़ में फैला हुआ है तथा ये उड़ान योजना में शामिल है और इसकी बाउंड्री और फेंसिंग के लिए हमारे रक्षा मंत्रालय द्वारा 4 करोड़ 41 लाख रुपए का आवंटन भी हो चुका है और इसकी कमर्शियल फिजिबिलिटी और रेवेन्यू फिजिबिलिटी भी बहुत ज़्यादा है और वहाँ से करीब 1.5 से 2 लाख की आबादी विदेशों में रहती है और बहुत ज़्यादा उससे विदेशी मुद्रा भी प्राप्त होती है। इसलिए मैं सरकार से ये आग्रह करता हूँ कि इसमें बजट को शामिल किया जाए और बोली की प्रक्रिया लगाकर ऑपरेशनल एक्टिविटी को शुरू की जाए। इस बजट में रेलवे के लिए भी 2.55 लाख करोड़ का रिकॉर्ड आवंटन हुआ है। मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र में रेलवे के लिए भी कमर्शियल फिजिबिलिटी ज़्यादा है, इसलिए महोदय गोपालगंज थावे से महानगरों के लिए डायरेक्ट ट्रेन की सुविधा का प्रावधान किया जाए और उसके लिए बजट का प्रावधान किया जाए। बजट से थावे में पीट और यार्ड की भी सुविधा की जाए ताकि महानगरों के लिए हमारे ट्रेन मिल सके। महोदय, हमारे माननीय मंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में बिहार सरकार ने संसदीय क्षेत्र गोपालगंज में एक मेडिकल कॉलेज की स्वीकृति दी है। साथ साथ टेंडर की भी प्रक्रिया शुरू हो गई है। मेरा आग्रह है सरकार से कि एनएमसी से जल्द स्वीकृति मिले और बजट भी आवंटित हो ताकि मेडिकल कॉलेज को जल्द से जल्द शुरू किया जा सके। महोदय, NH-27 जो गोल्डन क्वाड्रिलेटरल का पार्ट है और जो गोपालगंज से होते हुए बिहार के कई जिलों से गुजरता है और देश के प्रमुख मेट्रो शहरों से जुड़ता है। बजट 2025 में सुझाव है कि बिहार में नए व्यवसाय, निवेश और उद्योग स्थापित करने के लिए भी प्रावधान हो और इस दिशा में टैक्स एग्जम्पशन में भी एग्जम्पशन दिया जाए ताकि बिहार का सर्वांगीण विकास हो सके। महोदय, 1776 में एक किताब लिखी गई थी वेल्थ ऑफ नेशन, जिसमें एडम स्मिथ कहते हैं कि कमाने वाला खाएगा, लेकिन यह पूर्ण रूप से सत्य नहीं लगता क्योंकि भारतीय परंपराओं के अनुसार जो जन्मा है वो खाएगा और कमाने वाला खिलाएगा। इस तरह इस बजट में बिहार कई पैमाने में अन्य राज्यों की तुलना में प्रगति में पीछे है, अतः बिहार राज्य को और भी विशेष सहायता मिलनी चाहिए। महोदय, 2024-25 के बजट में किसान, महिला, युवा, गरीब लोगों के लिए जीवन में क्रांतिकारी परिवर्तन लाएगा। किसानों की आय बढ़ेगी, युवाओं के लिए अवसर प्राप्त होंगे, साथ साथ महिलाओं का सशक्तिकरण होगा। कृषि क्षेत्र में 1.52 लाख करोड़ का आवंटन से निश्चित ही कृषि उत्पादकता बढ़ेगी। किसानों को नई तकनीक का फायदा होगा और सरकार गांव-गांव तक नई तकनीकी को बढ़ावा देगी। महोदय, देश के प्रथम बजट जो कि वर्ष 1952-53 में आया था, उस वक्त रेवेन्यू रिसीव 404.98 करोड़ रुपए था और एक्सपेंडिचर 401.2 करोड़ रुपए था, जो कि वर्तमान वित्त वर्ष में 2025 के लिए एक्सपेंडिचर 48.21 लाख करोड़ रहने का अनुमान है और रिसीट 32.27 लाख रहने का अनुमान है। यह हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के कुशल नेतृत्व का परिणाम है, जिसके कारण अगले साल हमारे देश की राष्ट्रीय घाटा भी 4.1% से कम रहने का अनुमान है। महोदय, बजट 2024-25 में स्किल एवं शिक्षा बढ़ाने पर 4.8 लाख करोड़ का आवंटन सराहनीय है, लेकिन मैं सुझाव देते हुए प्रोफेसर मौलाना नबीस, जो फादर ऑफ इंडियन मॉडर्न बजट के नाम से जाने जाते हैं, कहते हैं कि इट वुड बी हाउएवर ए टोटल मिस्टेक टू एस्टेब्लिश एन एक्सपेंसिव system of education on the model of the advanced countries, with which who have little relevance to local needs and would be beyond the means of the national economy. इसलिए महोदय, एजुकेशन सिस्टम सबके लिए और सस्ती होनी चाहिए। महोदय, 2025 के लिए रिसीट 32.07 लाख करोड़ है। इस संबंध में मैं बाबा साहब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर साहब का दिया गया भाषण जो 1939 नासिक में दिया गया था को मैं रखना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने कहा था कि सरकार जो टैक्स के रूप में संग्रह करती है उसका उपयोग अवश्य ही किसानों के डेट और गरीबों को गरीबी दूर करने के लिए तथा शिक्षा के लिए होनी चाहिए। और इसके लिए महोदय मेरा सुझाव है कि शिक्षा हर हालत में और सस्ती होनी चाहिए। महोदय, बजट पर अपनी बात समाप्त करने से पहले मैं यह सुझाव देना चाहूँगा कि आज का भारत 144 करोड़ से अधिक नागरिक शक्ति का देश है, जिसके पास कृषि योग्य 156 मिलियन हेक्टेयर भूमि है, जो चीन से 120 मिलियन हेक्टेयर भूमि से ज़्यादा है। भारत की सिंचित क्षेत्र 48% है और चीन का सिंचित क्षेत्र 41% है। सकल बुआई का क्षेत्र भारत का 198 मिलियन हेक्टेयर है, जबकि चीन का 166 मिलियन हेक्टेयर है। मतलब फिर भी चीन का पैदावार 3 गुना अधिक है। चीन की उत्पादकता 1767 मिलियन डॉलर की है, जबकि भारत की कृषि उत्पादन मात्र 407 बिलियन डॉलर है। इसलिए महोदय, कृषि का और विकास हो, रूरल इकोनॉमी का विकास हो, ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में भी शहर की तरह सारी सुविधाएं मिले, इसलिए मैं इस बजट का स्वागत करता हूं। साथ साथ मैं एक चीज़ और कहना चाहूँगा। हमारे एक ऑनरेबल सीनियर मोस्ट मेंबर ने कुछ देर पहले कहा कि दिस बजट इज ओनली फॉर बिहार एंड आंध्र प्रदेश। कहते हैं कि प्रेजेंट पास्ट का आईना होता है। इन्होंने अपने प्रदेश के लिए, इनके ऑनरेबल नेता ने रेलवे की बजट और रेलवे प्रोजेक्ट्स को सबसे ज़्यादा बंगाल में लेकर गई और बिहार को नेग्लिजिबल बजट दिया। ये बात उन्होंने भूल गई और बिहार पर उन्होंने कटाक्ष कर रहा है, इसलिए मैं उनकी बात से सहमत न हूँ और ये उनको सीनियरिटी को देखते हुए ये बात नहीं कहना चाहिए। और इसके साथ साथ मैं अपनी बात को अब समाप्त करते हुए इस बजट का स्वागत करते हुए महोदय धन्यवाद देता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
माननीय सदस्य हाईबी एडन।
Thank you, sir. The Honorable Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, introduced the budget with the idea of the terminology used was Viksit Bharat. However, sir, there was no feeling of Bharat in the entire budget. The government has failed to take the states together. The idea of India has been totally shattered in this entire budget. This budget is a classic example of destroying the cooperative federalism of our country. Sir, but I'm glad that the government chose an inspiration from the Nyay Patra of the Indian National Congress. Screen लगा दो और भी दिखा देंगे. Nyay Patra of the Congress. So the Congress, the promise was an internship of a yearly stipend included in the budget. The Congress promise was an incentives of terms of tax credentials, an additional hiring against regular quality jobs is included in the budget, which is linked to the EPFO. The Congress promise of angel tax removal is also included in the budget. We are very glad, sir. But unfortunately, in 2019, when the government came into power, Modi Sarkar had promised 2 crore jobs every year.
by 23-24, 10 crore jobs of 10 crores have to, young people of this country has to get jobs. But unfortunately, this has not happened. So we expect that at least this, the idea which Congress gave would be implemented by this government, sir. Sir, in 2019, the colleagues from BJP in this August House raised the slogan, shouted the slogan, Modi hai to mumkin hai. Sir, in Manipur, we also, it is all a pain in our hearts. Hundreds of people lost their lives, thousands got displaced, but our Prime Minister, he went to Pakistan for the birthday reception of Nawaz Sharif, the Pakistani Prime Minister. But till date, he hasn't got to Manipur, sir. It's a shame to the entire country. Sir, Modi hai, to mumkin hai, sir. Sir, Terminal 1 of the Delhi airport collapsed. The roof of the airport of Jabalpur and Rajkot, inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister, collapsed. In the state of Bihar, 14 bridges, which is already in construction, has also collapsed. Sir, ये सब हो सकता है सर, मोदी है तो मुमकिन है सर. Sir, when we get distressed about the terror attacks and targeted killings of Jammu and Kashmir, later the abrogation of 370 happened. The truth is, earlier if the attacks were in the borders, now it has spread to the inner parts of Kashmir, the recent ones in Rasai, Katwa, Doda and Rajouri districts of Jammu, sir. Sir, Modi hai to mumkin hai, sir. Sir, Northeast Delhi riots in 2020, when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, came here to visit Delhi, the capital of our country, the riots were in full force, sir. Sir, Modi hai, so mumkin hai, sir. Sir, this is an institutional attack against the minorities of this country. This is an institutional attack against the Christians and Muslims of this country. Sir, this is happening in a time where you talk about the secular fabric of this country. Sir, this government came into power, BJP with 239 seats. When the BJP came into power, when this government came into power, they were already in the intensive care unit. But with the presentation of this budget, we clearly understand that it is not in the intensive care unit, but it is surviving with the support of 2 ventilators in this house. Sir, the budget clearly shows, sir, there are 2 ventilators. 2 ventilators run this house. Sir, there is a very critical point none of my colleagues have noticed. The MPs from the coastal belt should understand that the offshore mining, regarding the budget talks about the critical minerals mission regarding the announcement of offshore mining. There is no doubt that this is going to increase. There is no doubt that the mining is going to affect the lives and livelihood of lakhs and lakhs of fishermen of this country. The offshore mining is going to disturb the flora and fauna. The offshore mining is going to disturb the marine wealth. The environment and the ecosystem would be destroyed. No doubt, sir, offshore mining is going to happen. Sir, like the corporates have taken over the seaports, airports and telecom industry, the offshore mining is also going to be taken over by the corporates of company. The critical minerals mission is going to be an Adani, Ambani mission, sir, no doubt. Sir, हमारे मछुआरे के लोग, हमारे भाई और बहन, the biggest coastal line which spreads to Gujarat, lakhs and lakhs of fishermen are suffering, sir. The lives and livelihood is going to be badly affected, and the corporates will take over the seashore, no doubt, sir. So the budget had showed clear discrimination against the state of Kerala. There is no place for Kerala in the budget. The aims, which have been constantly a big demand announced by the BJP government, we have to, the people of Kerala gave a mandate for 1 BJP MP. The Treasury bench gave us 2 ministers. Still no aim, sir. Sir, in COVID-19, continuing threat of new viruses, the government has no focus on the preventive health care, no allocation for vaccination drives, no public health campaigns, no regular health checkups or screenings. Sir, we are still waiting for the vaccination for the 9 to 14-year-old, where the Honorable Minister have told for the cervical cancer vaccination, preventive vaccination for young girls. We are still waiting for that. Sir, Kerala is facing a huge, massive financial crisis. We have a huge financial deficit. But still the central government hasn't announced any special package. In 2018, Kerala faced the most disastrous floods in the history of the state. Sir, certain states like Bihar, Assam, Uttarakhand and Sikkim were given flood packages. We had presented an 8,500 crore package, but no flood mitigation package were allotted by the central government, sir. Sir, in an unstarred question given to me by the Honorable Minister of Finance, they clearly say that after 2015, after the UPA regime, there are no funds allocated for the coastal belt for building the seawalls or the groins in the state of Kerala. Sir, no single rupee has been allotted for building this entire seawall, sir. Sir, no tourism package has been allocated in Kerala for the last years. Sir, the place I come from is the Queen of Arabian Sea, sir, Cochin. Cochin is the place of Cochin Muzeris Binale. Kochi is a place of Kochi Metro Rail. Kochi has a huge potential for tourism and heritage and culture. But sir, in 16 square kilometers, there wouldn't be any other place in this country where you have 21 different communities living together in harmony, sir, including the Jews. Heritage tourism, not a single rupee has been given, sir. Sir, the budget has been constantly denying the youth of this country. The budget for Manrega has not been increased, is remaining the same. The unemployment in the country is the highest, particularly the rural unemployment. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Rural Development and Panchayati Raj has given a report, sir. Sir, only 3% of the workers received the unemployment allowance in the last 5 years because no budget for Manrega was kept, sir. Sir, no action has been taken on the report. Sir, what are the situations of our PSUs? Jyoti Mani had asked a question. 36 PSUs are in the process of selling. 10 has already been sold. The remaining is in the under process and the remaining will be sold in the coming years. Sir, this is the position of the government which has been ruling us, and this is the budget which has been announced by the government. Sir, ये एक किसान विरोधी बजट है, ये एक युवा विरोधी बजट है, ये एक छात्र विरोधी बजट है, ये दलित विरोधी बजट है, ये है महिला विरोधी बजट है, ये एक आदिवासी विरोधी बजट है. इस देश के शोषित, दलित, पीड़ित, वंचित सबके विरोधी बजट है और आई एम टोटली अपोजिंग दिस बजट, सर. थैंक यू.
माननीय सदस्य श्री सीएम रमेश जी.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the general discussion on the budget presented by Honorable Finance Minister on 23rd July. Sir, this budget is roadmap in pursuit of Vikasit Bharat. Sir, this is the first budget, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, third term, and it stands evidence to country inclusive growth, sustainable development and economic license. This budget is going to be a milestone budget of Amrit Kaal. Sir, I congratulate Honorable Finance Minister for presenting her record 7th budget in a row. This clearly indicates the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi is giving the importance to empowering the women. When I wish her best of times to come, and I am confident that Finance Minister, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, makes India third largest economy in the world and make this country Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat. This budget, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji said, is for Vikasit Bharat. This is budget ensures inclusive growth, benefit every section of society and make this country great again. Sir, Many honorable members have spoken about many things. I don't want to repeat them, but I only wanted to say this budget focus on Gyan, Garib, Yuva, Annadata and Nari with a theme focusing on employment, skilling, MSME and the middle class. Sir, the total expenditure for 2024-25 proposed rupees 48.21 lakh crores. Total receipts are pegged at rupees 32.07 lakh crores. Tax receipts are 25.83 lakh crores with a fiscal deficit of 4.9%, and the inflation is moving to achieve 4%. And if you look at borrowing proposed, they are less than last year. I compliment the Honorable Finance Minister who said that the 2026-27, the fiscal deficit will be on declining path. The percentage of GDP, it means availability of more money and spending more development and welfare. This is the Modi guarantee. Sir, hence I wish to submit that Government of AP has given in principle approval for setting up 6 1,208 megawatt capacity of nuclear power plant at Kovada in Andhra Pradesh. So I appeal that Honorable Finance Minister and the Honorable Prime Minister to look into it and see that the nuclear power plant is set up early at Kovada. Sir, with your permission, I will just touch upon briefly rupees 48 lakh crores going to be spent on some of the sectors. 11.11 lakh crores is given capital expenditure, which is 3.4% of GDP. Rupees 1.5 lakh crores interest-free loans given to the states for infrastructure development. Rupees 2 lakh crores given for employment, skilling, etc. for 4.1 crore youth in next 5 years. We are agriculture country, rupees 1.5 lakh crores given for agriculture and allied sectors. 1 crore farmers will be convinced towards natural farming. Rupees 3 lakh crores for schemes which will benefit for women and girls. 2.66 lakh crores given for rural development. Finance Minister has given money for rural infrastructure, as we know that India lives at villages. Defense is given 6.21 lakh crores. Rupees 2.62 lakh crores for railways, more than rupees 1.08 lakh crores for the safety. PMAY Urban 2 given rupees 10 lakh crores, and this Government of India assistance is 2.2 lakh crores. Roads under PMGSY Phase 4 announced for 25,000 more villages. Mudra loans limit increased rupees 20 lakhs from rupees 10 lakhs. It benefits small shopkeepers, micro entrepreneurs, service providers, etc. And the list goes on. Relating to Andhra Pradesh, this is a very, very important subject, sir. I know, now I come to my state of Andhra Pradesh. Sir, 5 years of jungle Raj was over. People of Andhra Pradesh has given unprecedented mandate to NDA. A visionary leader become Chief Minister again with a guidance, support and helping hand from Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. I am confident, BJP leaders, Karyakartas are confident, and NDA is confident that AP will regain its lost glory. Sir, the importance of AP reflected in this budget. Never in the history, if I may say so, there are 5 paras on heading relating to Andhra Pradesh. This clearly indicates the importance that Narendra Modi's government giving to Andhra Pradesh. Sir, this budget is like oxygen for Andhra Pradesh, which is on ventilator due to wrong deeds of earlier YSRCP government. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu is releasing white papers on various sectors: power, Amaravati, Polavaram, mines, liquor, and so far 5 white papers has been released, and I think 3 more are going to be released in Andhra Pradesh Assembly during the current budget session. These white papers will give a clear picture of irreparable damage done by YSRCP government in Andhra Pradesh between 2019 and 24. Sir, since I have limited time, I wish to touch upon only few issues about my states. Now, Andhra Pradesh